Chapter 1055. Die. The moment he entered the wormhole, Qin Shou grinned sinisterly. His large hand exerted force, about to crush the Heavenly Emperor Realm hostage in his hand. At this moment, that Heavenly Emperor Realm student immediately felt his heart being enveloped by an incomparably intense aura of death. Immediately, his face turned pale, feeling that he was definitely going to die. At the same time, the expressions of Xiang Sungwu and the rest also changed drastically. Qin Shou didn't keep his word, actually wanting to kill the hostage after leaving? His attitude was vile, his actions were vile, simply unforgivable. In an instant, Xiang Sungwu and the rest attacked in anger, erupting with terrifying power, blasting towards the wormhole. However, they were all heavenly venerables, so what if they were stronger than Qin Shou? They couldn't do anything to Qin Shou at all. They thought that as long as it was that instant, or even less than an instant, Qin Shou could be teleported to another continent. Even if they chased over, Qin Shou would probably have already escaped by then. Seeing this scene, a cold smile flashed across Morong Yu's face. Do it. A faint voice sounded in Yang Qin's mind. Following that, Yang Qin suddenly attacked. How fast was a rank 10 quasi-saint? There were no words to describe it. Just as Yang Qin attacked, her large hand already appeared in the wormhole. The Heavenly Emperor Realm powerhouse that was held by Qin Shou immediately closed his eyes. He knew that he was definitely going to die this time. Moreover, with his strength, he couldn't resist Qin Shou's attack at all. The two were two major realms apart. Qin Shou could easily kill him. Hence, he didn't even have the thought of resisting. Swoosh. However, just as he closed his eyes and thought that he was going to be killed, he felt his body sway, but he wasn't killed. Could it be that Qin Shou found his conscience and suddenly didn't want to kill him? Hence, he couldn't help but open his eyes curiously. However, he soon discovered that it wasn't that Qin Shou found his conscience and didn't want to kill him. Instead, the current Qin Shou had already been forcefully pulled out of the wormhole by someone, kneeling in front of Morong Yu. As it turned out, just as Qin Shou thought that he had escaped Morong Yu's pursuit, Yang Qin suddenly grabbed him out of the wormhole. Just like before, Qin Shou's power was sealed and he was thrown in front of Morong Yu. However, this time, he was in a kneeling position. A smile appeared on Morong Yu's face as he walked towards Qin Shou. Qin Shou's face was ashen. He stared at Morong Yu with fear in the depths of his eyes. Morong Yu, you didn't keep your promise. You actually attacked me. Morong Yu sneered. You're talking about trust with me? Qin Shou, you disgust me. Didn't you also not let that student off? Is there anyone more shameless than you? Qin Shou fell silent. In reality, he really didn't keep his word. Tisk, when have you ever seen me not keeping my promises? Have you seen me fight before? I only said that I wouldn't make a move, but it seems like I haven't made a move at all. Qin Shou was about to vomit blood. He had said that Morong Yu wouldn't make a move. Didn't that include Morong Yu's people as well? However, Morong Yu was playing with words. You think you're worthy to talk to me about trust? Morong Yu walked up and kicked Qin Shou's face. Crack! Qin Shou's face caved in from the huge force of the kick. His mouth was filled with teeth. His entire body flew out from the kick. Elder Xiang seniors, there shouldn't be any problems with me dealing with Qin Shou now, right? After Morong Yu kicked Qin Shou away, he didn't make a move again. Instead, he looked at Xiang Sungwu and the others and said this. No problem. Even if you don't make a move, Primeval College won't let him off. Letting such a person become a teacher at Primeval College is an insult to Primeval College. Morong Yu smiled faintly. Primeval College must have a lot of teachers like this. Primeval College must have a lot of students who have been harmed by such teachers. If you don't want this to happen again, I think Elder Xiang should clean up the teacher's rank. Xiang Xingyu and the other important figures of the desolate academy all wore gloomy expressions. Their figures flickered and they left. Morong Yu, don't kill me. I was blind. If you don't kill me, I'm willing to be your slave for the rest of my life. I'll never betray you. Qin Shou knelt on the ground and cried as he begged for mercy. Murong Yu looked at Yang Qin and the other two quasi-saint and said, "Do you think I'd want such a person even if he were to be my slave? Just kill him." Yang Qin and the other two were quasi-saint level fighters. They had killed countless people and their hands were stained with blood. However, they weren't despicable or shameless. Associating with such people in the future? They were ashamed to be associated with them. "Then kill him," Murong Yu said faintly. Swish. Swish. Before Murong Yu could finish his sentence, Yang Qin and the other two flicked their fingers at the same time. Instantly, 2 gusts of wind hit Qin Shou's body. Qin Shou didn't even have time to react before he was blasted into dust. He couldn't be any more dead. After killing Qin Shou, Murong Yu was about to leave. "Murong Yu, please wait." At that moment, the Heavenly Emperor-level fighter that Murong Yu saved from Qin Shou hurriedly shouted. Then, he rushed forward and knelt in front of Murong Yu. He kowtowed 3 times to him. "My life was saved by you. Please allow me to follow you." That Heavenly Emperor-level student said to Murong Yu with a sincere look. Murong Yu looked at the student with a smile on his face. "If everyone was like you, wouldn't there be a lot of people who would follow me? Moreover, I didn't save people to have people follow me." Hearing that student's face immediately revealed a look of disappointment. But Murong Yu's words later rekindled his hope. "I have a faction called Chaos Shenzhen. If you want to follow me, you might as well go and join Shenzhen. Joining Shenzhen doesn't have any harsh conditions. There's only one, absolute loyalty to Shenzhen. As long as you pass this test of loyalty, no matter what your talent is, Shenzhen will not reject anyone. Moreover, Shenzhen welcomes anyone." While talking, Murong Yu even glanced at some of the other students nearby. "Brilliant. The Holy Lord's move is really brilliant. He's actually using this opportunity to expand Shenzhen's influence. If we can absorb some of the elite students from Primeval College, Shenzhen's strength will skyrocket." Yang Qin and Yang Ling secretly praised in their hearts. Shenzhen? A cold light flashed in the eyes of the Heavenly Emperor-level Primeval College student who was kneeling on the ground. "I'll go to the Holy City immediately." This person bowed again to Murong Yu, then stood up and quickly left. Other than top experts like Wen Ling and Yang Qin, Shenzhen doesn't have any ordinary top experts at all. If we can attract a large number of heavenly emperors, primordial gods, and even heavenly venerables to join Shenzhen, we can solve the awkward situation of Shenzhen not having any top experts. Looks like we have to do more of this in the future. Otherwise, we won't be able to attract more people to join Shenzhen just by relying on quasi-saint experts like Wen Ling. The current Shenzhen was different from before. Previously, it had been concealing its strength and biding its time, slowly growing stronger. However, now that Shenzhen had emerged, it needed to attract more experts to join Shenzhen. Otherwise, if a war broke out between the two races, Shenzhen couldn't just rely on quasi-saint experts like Wen Ling. However, if a large number of experts joined Shenzhen, it would be a bigger test of Shenzhen's resources. It's also time to get some resources. The resources of the Blood Gate, Shadowless Organization, and Divine Union alone won't last long. A cold light flashed in Murong Yu's eyes. Murong Yu had to make a trip to the Heavenly Punisher Palace, Sacred Sect, Devil Sect, and Immortal Palace. However, this could only be done by secretly emptying their treasuries. Now, Murong Yu had to extort a big shot. Back at Abyssal College, a big shot from Abyssal College, Hua Yongyi, had tried to control Murong Yu's mind. Murong Yu had always been brooding over this matter. Previously, he hadn't been strong enough, so he had swallowed his pride. But now? So what if he went straight to Abyssal College? However, if it was just Yang Qin, a level 10 quasi-saint, going to Abyssal College, it wouldn't be enough of a deterrent. At least 2 people would be needed. Therefore, Morong Yu returned to the holy city directly. At the same time, Primeval College had also started a thorough investigation of the teachers because of Qin's show. Primeval College's intelligence network was absolutely terrifying. After a thorough investigation, it was found that there were many teachers like Qin's show among Primeval College's teachers. Once they were found, Primeval College would immediately take back everything, including their identity and resources. Then, they would be expelled from Primeval College, never to be hired again. Some people who had committed heinous crimes were directly killed. After returning to the holy city, Morong Yu wanted to take Yang Qin and Wenling directly to Abyssal College, but later changed his mind. His body swayed and he re-entered the chaotic secret zone. Lu Haotsong, who had been cultivating, woke up the moment Morong Yu entered the chaotic secret zone. His body swayed and he appeared beside Morong Yu. "Kid, did you find the materials I wanted?" Morong Yu rolled his eyes. He didn't have time to inquire about those materials. In fact, he didn't even look for them, he immediately said. "No. You're a saint. In any case, you're a saint. Can you not be so anxious? Anyway, you're already immortal and won't die. Why are you so anxious?" Lu Haotsong was speechless. "Then I'll make you unable to recover your strength for the rest of your life, and let you stay in this godforsaken place to see if you're the same as me? Okay, if you have it, I'll try my best to get it for you. But I'm here because I have something to ask you." Morong Yu came to Lu Haotsong's palace and sat down casually, ignoring Lu Haotsong, who was fuming beside him. Chapter 1056. What's the matter? Lu Haotsong knew that he couldn't do anything to Morong Yu, so he could only sit down and ask helplessly. The strength of a sage definitely surpasses that of a god and exceeds the limit of what the god realm can bear. But why are there sages in the god realm? He had never been able to understand Morong Yu's question. Just like how the celestial realm couldn't bear gods, but gods could live in the celestial realm after suppressing their realm. And the celestial realm wouldn't collapse because of gods. According to this logic, sages could also live in the god realm after suppressing their realm. If this was the case, then how many sages would there be in the god realm? There must be a lot of sages, right? There definitely aren't many sages in the god realm. And the god realm can't bear real sages. The god realm is too weak for real sages. And the pressure that sages put on the god realm is more than 1,000,000,000 times stronger than the pressure that gods put on immortals. Morong Yu frowned slightly, he was a little confused. According to what you said, it's impossible for sages to exist in the god realm? But the sage in Primeval College, is that fake? Lu Haotsong shook his head slightly and said, "You don't understand what I mean. It's impossible for God realm to have real sages, but I didn't say that sages can't exist in the God realm." What's going on? Morong Yu was even more confused. Real sages are those who ascend to the celestial realm, condense a sage body, and go through the baptism of the sage tribulation. Only then are they called sages. And those who didn't condense a sage body and went through the baptism of the sage tribulation, but still stepped into the sage realm are called false sages. Their strength is higher than quasi-saint, but they're countless times weaker than real sages. But it's enough to kill a 10th-order quasi-saint. So the sage tribulation isn't the tribulation before stepping into the sage realm. It's the tribulation after condensing a sage body. So the sages in the god realm are all false sages. Because they didn't condense a sage body and go through the sage tribulation, their strength is much weaker than real sages. So, even the god realm can accommodate them. Morong Yu finally understood what was going on. The so-called false saint was a saint who had already stepped into the saint realm but had yet to ascend. However, since the realm of the gods had existed for countless years, wouldn't there have been many existences of this level in the realm of the gods? Lu Haotsong sneered, "Do you really think it's that easy to become a saint? No matter where you became a saint, The power of the saint's world would pull you to the saint's world the moment you became a saint. This is the natural law of heaven and earth. It doesn't allow stronger people to exist in the lower realm and destroy the lower realm. Thus, if you want to remain in the God realm after becoming a saint, you must have some sort of method. He had deceived the power of the saint's world, or he had directly broken free from the pull of the saint's world's power. Of course, the power of the holy world was something that even immortal saints could not break free from, let alone someone who had just become a saint. Therefore, they could only rely on deception. As for how to deceive them, I don't know. Murong-yu nodded. The saint from Primeval College must have used some method to deceive the power of the holy world. This method of deception should be extremely difficult to achieve and should require a huge amount of resources. The only ones in the realm of the gods that could do it were the 4 great academies or some super forces. There should not be many saints in the realm of the gods. Thinking of this, Murong-yu let out a sigh of relief. However, even if there were not many, if those saints were to act, they could easily kill a 10th-order quasi-saint. No wonder Abyssal College gave in so easily. The saints from Primeval College were too strong. However, did Abyssal College really not have any saints? Old Lu, since they deceived the power of the holy world to stay in the realm of the gods, how can they do it? Then, is there a way to tear apart their disguise and let the holy world sense them again? Murong-yu's eyes flashed coldly as he said in a deep voice. Lu Haotsong felt helpless when Murong-yu called him Old Lu. However, he was too lazy to say anything. He just looked at Murong-yu indifferently and asked, "Who do you want to trick?" Murong-yu shook his head. With his current strong rise, he would definitely oppose some saints in the future. Now, he only wanted to come in case of emergencies. It's very simple. I'll teach you a method. When the time comes, just put a few seals on those false saints, and they will be pulled up by the holy world. However, you don't have to do that. The lifespan of a false saint is far less than 1% of the lifespan of a normal saint. Moreover, in the realm of the gods, their strength will not continue to improve. If they want to become stronger, they can only ascend to the holy world. It's just for emergencies. Murong-yu said indifferently. Then, Lu Haotsong pointed his finger and directly imprinted the method into Murong-yu's mind. This method was extremely simple. Murong-yu understood it after reading it once. After a little cultivation, he was already proficient in it. If Abyssal College has a false saint, I can give them a big gift. Murong-yu sneered in his heart. However, these are best used to deal with the saints of the demon race. If I don't meet the saints of the demon race, they will have to accept this gift. By the way, in the holy world, how is the relationship between the human race and the demon race? Why do the demon race always want to exterminate the human race? Murong-yu suddenly thought that the upcoming war between the human race and the demon race might be led by the saints above, so he asked Lu Haotsong. The various forces in the holy world are intricate and complicated. It won't do you any good to talk about it. However, the human race and the demon race have always been enemies. The demon race in the realm of the gods is controlled by the demon race in the holy world. Sooner or later, the demon race will launch a war against the human race. As long as they seize the realm of the gods, there will be no humans in the 3,000 immortal worlds and 108,000 cultivation world. Murong-yu frowned slightly. Since the demon race is so cruel, the people above are also leading the war. If there is a war between the two races, there should be people above helping the human race, right? Help? Lu Haotsong sneered. They can't even protect themselves. How can they have the time to help you? Murong-yu's heart skipped a beat. He thought of the fallen sovereign, Nuwa. Even Nuwa had fallen. The situation in the holy world was really not optimistic. As if he realized that he had spilled the beans, Lu Haotsong immediately shut his mouth. No matter how Murong-yu asked, he did not talk about the holy world. On this point, He was surprisingly consistent with Hichu. He would rather die than talk about the holy world. What Morong Yu didn't know was why they didn't talk about the holy world. Once Morong Yu knew about the situation in the holy world, he would definitely be in despair. If the people of the realm of the gods knew about it, the entire realm of the gods would be in despair. No one would be willing to ascend and become a sage. In the end, without new blood to replenish the holy world, the situation would become worse and worse. The heart of the demon race. As long as the heart of the demon race is destroyed, the demon race will be exterminated? Morong Yu suddenly asked. That is the legend. But what is the heart of the demon race? Where does it exist? Who knows? If they knew about the heart of the demon race would have been exterminated long ago, Lu Haotsong said helplessly. As a member of the human race, and as someone who ascended from the lower realm, he hated the demon race to the core. In fact, as long as the human race knew about the situation in the holy world, they would want nothing more than to exterminate the demon race. Old Lu, it seems like you don't have a good impression of the demon race. Why don't you directly take action and exterminate the demon race in the god realm? Morong Yu looked at Lu Haotsong and said. Sure. Lu Haotsong immediately laughed. But once I take action, I won't just be exterminating the demon race, but the entire god realm. If the god realm is destroyed, the 3,000 immortal realms and the 108,000 immortal realms will all perish together. At that time, there will be no other world besides the holy world. You don't want me to take action immediately? Morong Yu was shocked. Wouldn't that make him a sinner? Forget it, the demon race should wait for me to exterminate them. Morong Yu quickly stopped Lu Haotsong. However, they had offended a holy dragon in the Dragon Clan's ancestral grounds. Would that guy leave the Dragon Clan's ancestral grounds and come out to the god realm? If that happened, all life in the world would be destroyed. Don't worry, if he dares to come out, I will exterminate him for you, Lu Haotsong quickly said. Morong Yu glared at him. The god realm couldn't withstand a true saint. If two saints were to fight, the god realm would be destroyed in an instant. He had to think of a way to enter the Dragon Clan's ancestral grounds and exterminate that holy dragon. Morong Yu pondered in his heart, but he couldn't think of anything. All right, I will go cultivate and break through to the Heavenly Emperor realm first. After chatting for a while, Morong Yu left Lu Haotsong's palace and went to the chaotic secret ground outside. The three godheads had reached the peak of the Heavenly King realm, and the chaotic celestial record had broken through to the 6th level. Morong Yu could break through to the Heavenly Emperor realm. Endless chaotic energy constantly rushed over, like a stormy sea. It was very terrifying. After Morong Yu completely absorbed the chaotic energy, the chaotic airflow around him became even more violent, and like a flood, it was crazily absorbed into his body. Looking at Morong Yu, who was constantly absorbing the chaotic airflow, Lu Haotsong revealed a look of envy. In the world, only the chaotic celestial body physique could absorb the chaotic airflow. And the others were like him, in a treasure mountain, but they could only look, but could not use it. I wonder how many years this kid will take to break through this time? 1,000 years? 10,000 years? Or 100,000 years? Lu Haotsong looked at Morong Yu, who was cultivating, and this thought flashed through his mind. Boom! As soon as his thought appeared, Morong Yu's body shook fiercely. Then, Lu Haotsong saw that Morong Yu's realm had broken through to the early stage of the Heavenly Emperor realm. This! Lu Haotsong was shocked. Slap! Lu Haotsong seemed to have been slapped in the face by himself. It was incomparably loud. Chapter 1057. The higher one's realm was, the greater the amount of energy needed to break through, and the harder it was to break through. This was the most normal logic. Therefore, when Morong Yu broke through from the peak Heavenly Monarch to the early Heavenly Dharch realm, his speed suddenly slowed down. However, the increase in Morong Yu's realm and cultivation meant that the amount of primal chaos energy he could absorb and devour was much greater than before. Therefore, although the higher one's realm was, the greater the amount of energy needed, the corresponding absorption and devouring speed was also much faster. Therefore, Murong Yu's absorption speed was basically the same as before. Therefore, Lu Haotsang saw that Murong Yu's realm was still constantly increasing after his breakthrough. His cultivation was rapidly stabilizing. Then, under his watch, his realm was constantly breaking through. Early stage Heavenly Dharch, mid-stage Heavenly Dharch, late-stage Heavenly Dharch, peak late-stage Heaven Earth. When Murong Yu's realm broke through to the peak of the Heavenly Dharch realm, his growth slowed down. At that moment, if he wanted to break through to the primordial Godhead realm, he had to first comprehend the chaotic celestial record. What he had comprehended now could support him to reach the peak of the Heavenly Dharch realm. Furthermore, Murong Yu had 3 Godheads in his body. To break through to a higher realm, all 3 Godheads had to reach the peak of the previous realm at the same time. Just like how Murong Yu wanted to break through to the Heavenly Dharch realm, all 3 of his Godheads had to reach the peak of the Heavenly Dharch realm. Otherwise, even if he comprehended the 7th level of the chaotic celestial record, he wouldn't be able to break through. This was the disadvantage of having multiple Godhead. Of course, the benefits of having multiple Godheads were obvious. Is this why the chaotic celestial body is so terrifying? Or is it because of having multiple Godheads? Seeing Murong Yu stand up from the ground, Lu Haotsang, who had been watching Murong Yu break through, wore a look of shock. In fact, this had nothing to do with the chaotic celestial body or the number of Godhead. The reason why Murong Yu could increase his realm so quickly was because of the chaotic celestial record. However, the chaotic celestial record was tailored for the chaotic celestial body. Therefore, it had something to do with the chaos celestial body. In short, Murong Yu was a pervert. He could actually break through from the Heavenly King realm to the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm in an instant. Lu Haotsang was shocked. However, he was unaware of Murong Yu's troubles. It wasn't easy for him to comprehend the 6th stage of the chaotic celestial records, but it was only enough for him to reach the celestial Dharch stage. Who knew when he would be able to comprehend the next stages? Furthermore, only one godhood had broken through. He didn't know when he would be able to break through the other 2 godhoods. Although the lightning divinity had devoured and refined the thunder heart, it was still not enough. The power of lightning absorbed every second was countless times stronger than before. However, it was impossible to use this power to break through. Moreover, Abyssal College had a secret lightning ground, but the lightning core had been absorbed and refined by Murong Yu, so there was no longer any secret lightning ground for him to cultivate. As for the spatial law godhood, although there was a lot of spatial power, it was everywhere. However, it was far inferior to the incomparably violent chaotic airflow in the chaos secret ground. I don't know when the other 2 godhoods will be able to break through. Sigh. Murong Yu stood up and sighed with a depressed expression. Lu Haotsang had the urge to slap Murong Yu to death again. He had broken through from the peak of the Heavenly King realm to the peak of the Heavenly Emperor realm, which was a full realm increase, and he was still not satisfied? Could it be that he would only be satisfied if he turned from a god to a saint? At the same time that he had the urge to slap Murong Yu to death, Lu Haotsang was also deeply shocked. Although he didn't know how much higher his realm was than Murong Yu's cultivation speed was also a deep blow to him. In the future, when this guy is cultivating, I must not get close to him, let alone look at him. Otherwise, I can only ask for a beating. Lu Haotsang muttered in his heart, but his eyes looked at Murong Yu with some sadness. Seeing Lu Haotsang's sad eyes, Murong Yu's body couldn't help but tremble slightly. This guy shouldn't have been dissatisfied for countless years and couldn't vent his sexual orientation in the end, right? No, I can't stay any longer. If this guy's beastly nature is unleashed, then wouldn't I be in for a tragedy? Therefore, he hurriedly said, I still have some things to do, so I'll leave for the time being." Before his voice fell, his figure flashed and disappeared on the spot. Only Lu Haotsang was left on the spot with a stunned face. "This little bastard!" Lu Haotsang cursed and returned to the palace to cultivate in seclusion. "Hichu, how long did I spend in seclusion this time?" After entering Hichu Luoshu world, Murong Yu immediately asked. "Less than 1,000 years." Murong Yu was shocked. "The speed has become so fast? I thought it would take at least 10,000 years." After breaking through, the speed of absorbing chaotic energy has greatly increased, even more terrifying than before. At the same time, the Tree of Life has become more powerful. The amount of chaotic energy refined is also greater. Therefore, the speed of your cultivation will become faster and faster, not slower and slower. Of course, the premise is that there is a large amount of endless energy for him to absorb. Murong Yu nodded, and a look of pity appeared on his face. "It's a pity that I don't know the lightning and space secret lands like the chaotic secret lands. Otherwise, I would be even more powerful." You should be content with what you have. If the power of your 3 godheads explodes, your cultivation will probably rise to the early stage of the immemorial god realm. The fighting symbol art can also increase your battle strength by 100 times, so killing a peak immemorial god won't be a problem at all. If you have a powerful divine artifact like the Soul Chaser, you can definitely fight a heavenly venerable. Murong Yu shook his head. He wouldn't be satisfied even if he could kill a heavenly venerable, let alone fight a heavenly venerable. This was because his current enemies were all at the level of the quasi-saint. Moreover, there were false sages and even true sages above the quasi-saint. The pressure was immense. It's been a few hundred years. I wonder if the war between the demon race and the human race has been ignited yet? Murong Yu muttered to himself as he appeared in the holy city. An enormous spiritual force spread out, covering the entire holy city in an instant. Then, he secretly heaved a sigh of relief. There were many new faces in the holy city. There were heavenly emperors, immemorial gods, and even heavenly venerables. These were all people who had joined Shenzhen after Shenzhen had destroyed the Divine Union. Among them, a considerable number of powerhouses were primeval college students. Because of the Qin Shou incident, Murong Yu's prestige had increased. Many primeval college students had come to join Shenzhen out of admiration. Moreover, more and more students joined Shenzhen's primeval college. In any case, primeval college wouldn't interfere in this situation. This was because even if they joined Shenzhen, they would still be primeval college students. Of course, these people who joined Shenzhen had passed the test. Murong Yu had left a power clone in the holy city. This power clone didn't have any other use except to see through other people's hearts. Any new disciple who wanted to join Shenzhen had to pass the test of this power clone. Otherwise, Shenzhen would definitely not accept them. Other than that, nothing much had happened to Shenzhen. There was no tragic atmosphere like when a war broke out. After staying in the holy city for a while, Murong Yu found Qin Xiaowei, who was at primeval college. Seeing Murong Yu's smile, Qin Xiaowei's expression turned bitter. "You must be up to no good, right?" Murong Yu immediately glared. "When have I ever looked for you for no good?" Qin Xiaowei fell silent. Each time Murong Yu looked for Qin Xiaowei, it was to ask him for information. However, Qin Xiaowei would receive a generous reward afterwards. Qin Xiaowei chuckled and said, "Tell me, which power do you want me to investigate this time? Do you want to destroy them all, or is it just about their treasuries?" Heavenly Wrath Palace, Immortal Palace, Sage Sect, and Devil Sect. The orthodoxies of these powers in the Yen Huang Immortal Realm have all been destroyed by me. They haven't made a move against me yet. But once a war breaks out between the two races, they will definitely stab me in the back. Therefore, I have to strike first. Destroy them all? Qin Xiaowei asked in shock. Murong Yu almost kicked Qin Xiaowei. He glared at Qin Xiaowei and said, Do you think I'm the kind of person who kills without restraint? Qin Xiaowei nodded involuntarily. Murong Yu's face darkened. Qin Xiaowei smiled and said, I just need the location of their treasuries, right? Murong Yu nodded. A pity. If the spirit organization could cover the entire demon territory, that would be awesome. We could directly empty the treasuries of those great demon factions. Although the spirit organization was the strongest assassin organization in the immortal realm, they only covered the human territory, and could not infiltrate the demon territory. Because the gap between humans and demons was too great, and the slightest carelessness would give them away. Moreover, the demon clan would never submit to the human clan. Given your ability, it shouldn't be hard for you to go deep into the demon territory to investigate. Qin Xiaowei rolled his eyes and continued, Send me back to the spirit organization branch. Oh right, Xiaoxian has been undergoing training at the branch recently. Murong Yu was a little surprised. Isn't it time for Xiaoxian to be an assassin? This is the village chief's strict request. Even if Xiaoxian isn't an assassin, I should have all the skills of an assassin. This is the only way to survive in this chaotic world. This is for Xiaoxian's own good. War is coming. Murong Yu sighed in his heart. Then, he put Qin Xiaowei into the Hichu Luoshu world. This time, let's go to the branch to see Xiaoxian. As they spoke, they had already arrived at the spirit organization branch. After finding out where Xiaoxian was training, Murong Yu strode over. Qi. However, before he reached the destination, a sword light suddenly appeared in the void and shot towards Murong Yu's forehead. Chapter 1058. Swish. The sword light appeared extremely quickly, piercing through the space in front of Murong Yu. It locked onto Murong Yu's forehead immediately and shot towards him in an attempt to crush Murong Yu's soul. However, a smile appeared on Murong Yu's face. Just as the sword light was about to reach his forehead, he moved his right hand. He extended 2 fingers and caught the sword light. Then, Murong Yu exerted a bit of force with his finger, causing the sword ray to shatter with a crack. Humph! Just as the sword light was shattered, a muffled groan rang out from the void not too far away from Murong Yu. Then, a figure seemed to have been struck out of the space. It stumbled and fell to the ground. Murong Yu shook his head and smiled faintly. He took a step forward and appeared before the person. Then, he reached out and grabbed the waist of the person who had fallen to the ground. Immediately, a faint fragrance wafted into his nose. A soft feeling came from Murong Yu's arms. Aya! A cry rang out. The woman in Murong Yu's arms was flushed red. Her eyes were filled with panic. Xiaoxian, are you trying to assassinate me? Murong Yu's heart skipped a beat. He put down the woman in his arms, who was Xiaoxian, and smiled at the flushed Xiaoxian. Xiaoxian looked at Murong Yu with a flushed face. Perhaps it was because she was embarrassed by the failed assassination attempt, or because she was embarrassed by Murong Yu's embrace. She was momentarily speechless. It's all Uncle Xing's fault. He wanted me to assassinate you. Humph, Brother Murong, you're such a baddie. Your strength has increased too quickly. Back when I was an Empyrean god, you hadn't even condensed a god's body. Now that I've finally become an over-god, you've surpassed me by who knows how much. Xiaoxian looked at Murong Yu and said gloomily. Everyone in the Spectre village was a proud son of the heavens. Each of them had reached an extremely high realm at a young age. However, compared to Murong Yu, it was a huge blow to them. Hearing this, Murong Yu only smiled and didn't say anything else. He was afraid that if he continued, it would hurt Xiaoxian even more. After all, it was a fact that he had rapidly increased his cultivation level. Peak of the Heavenly King stage? At this moment, one of the people in charge of the Ghost Branch, Chen Xing, also known as Uncle Xing, appeared out of thin air. He then looked at Murong Yu in shock. However, before Murong Yu could speak, Chen Xing continued, Murong Yu, your actual level should be higher than what you show on the surface, right? Your body contains an extremely powerful explosive force. Murong Yu looked at Chen Xing in surprise. His primal god lattice was already at the peak of the Heavenly Emperor stage. However, he had concealed it. This was because he usually showed it to others as the Lightning Divinity stage. A top-notch assassin is indeed extremely sensitive to power. Murong Yu's heart trembled. Uncle Xing, Big Brother Murong, is already at the Heavenly King stage. You actually want me to assassinate him? Aren't you clearly trying to embarrass me? Xiao Xian was a little unhappy. She hugged Chen Xing's hands and stared at Chen Xing with her big, watery eyes. At this moment, one of the top-notch assassins in the Spectre organization, Chen Xing, turned into an uncle next door. He had an amiable smile on his face as he said, "Assassinations have nothing to do with strength. With Murong Yu's strength, he can definitely assassinate an expert at the level of quasi-saint. Of course, being able to assassinate him is another matter." Chen Xing was still shocked by Murong Yu's incomparably powerful concealment ability. In reality, it was just as Chen Xing said. With Murong Yu's concealment ability, even a level 10 quasi-saint wouldn't be able to detect him. He could definitely assassinate a level 10 quasi-saint. However, whether or not he could kill him was another matter. Big Brother Murong's assassination ability is so powerful? Xiao Xian looked at Murong Yu with a face full of shock. This was the first time she heard Chen Xing praise someone. One had to know that in the Spectre organization, even the most outstanding assassins were never praised by Chen Xing. Murong Yu, if you have nothing to do, how about training Xiao Xian a little? This child is not bad. Although she doesn't want to be an assassin, she has everything that an assassin should have. Chen Xing looked at Murong Yu and said with a smile. Murong Yu couldn't help but smile helplessly. How could he have the time to train Xiao Xian now? However, when he saw Xiao Xian looking at him with a face full of anticipation, Murong Yu couldn't bring himself to reject her. Forget it. Since I still need to wait for news from Qin Xiaowei, I'll train Xiao Xian for now. Although Xiao Xian doesn't have the same invisibility ability as me, if I train her with my own ability, the results will definitely be amazing. Murong Yu thought to himself and then agreed. That's great. Big Brother Murong, let's start now? Xiao Xian immediately cheered. Murong Yu glared at her. I don't know how Uncle Xing trained you. However, I will definitely train you with the strictest standards. When the time comes, don't cry and complain to Uncle Xing and the others. Do you think I'm a little girl? All I know is to cry? Xiao Xian snorted coldly. However, she felt a chill in her heart. Chen Xing smiled faintly, and his figure disappeared in a flash. Meanwhile, Murong Yu brought Xiao Xian to the training base of the Spectre organization. Although it was called a base, it was actually a small independent space. These spaces were opened up by everyone's great powers and were very stable. Most importantly, these spaces were exactly the same as the realm of the gods outside. It was perfect for training assassins. There are two main aspects of being an assassin. They are the art of concealment and the art of assassination. As for the art of assassination, I'm actually not good at it. I'll train in the art of concealment that I'm best at. After the training started, Murong Yu's expression turned serious. This concerned Xiao Xian's life. He couldn't afford to be careless. Xiao Xian, hide yourself and use all kinds of methods to assassinate me, Murong Yu suddenly shouted coldly. Xiao Xian's figure instantly disappeared from Murong Yu's sight and hid in the void. Murong Yu immediately sent out his divine sense to scan the area. Then, he furrowed his brows. Xiao Xian, start assassinating me. Xiao Xian, who was hiding in the void, nodded slightly. Then, she swept across the void and stabbed at Murong Yu with her sword. Murong Yu took a step forward and dodged Xiao Xian's attack. Immediately after, Xiao Xian concealed herself in the void once more. Then, she moved to another angle and attacked Murong Yu once more. After a few consecutive attacks, Murong Yu dodged them easily. Murong Yu didn't use the space rules of order to look for the aura that Xiao Xian left in the void. He also didn't use the space rules of order to sense the fluctuations in the space. He only used the power of his divine thought. After a round of assassination, Morong Yu realized that Xiao Xian's art of concealment and assassination was still very rough. When you hide in the void, you have to be one with the void. You are the void and the void is you. Both of you have to be one with each other. You have indeed achieved this when you hide and don't move. However, when you move, although you don't show your body, you move the void. You cause layers of invisible ripples to appear in the void. Those who are stronger than you can easily detect these spatial fluctuations. Moreover, before you assassinate, before you even reach your target, your murderous aura has already appeared. Those who are stronger can totally sense your murderous aura and react to it. They can then escape or even kill you. Considering that you don't want to be an assassin, I won't consider the art of assassination. The art of concealment is a way to save your life. Therefore, you have to master it well. Next, you don't have to assassinate me. You just need to hide and move in the void. Xiao Xian silently followed Morong Yu's instructions. Xiao Xian's problem wasn't that her art of concealment wasn't good enough. It was that she didn't have enough control over herself. Morong Yu, who was especially sensitive to space, understood this very well. Grasp the feeling when you hide in the void and don't move. Strive to make your compatibility with the void when you move is the same as when you stand still. Move slowly first and then gradually increase your speed. Time continued to pass, but Xiao Xian's progress was godly. In the beginning, Morong Yu used his divine will to train Xiao Xian. However, Xiao Xian's comprehension ability was terrifying. It didn't take long for her to completely grasp the main points of Morong Yu's teachings. In the end, Morong Yu couldn't even sense Xiao Xian's presence with his divine will. Of course, this was only the first stage of training. Next, the second stage began. The so-called second stage was when Morong Yu directly used the power of the spatial laws. This was even more terrifying. When he used the spatial laws, he could clearly sense Xiao Xian even if she hid in the void and didn't move. Therefore, Morong Yu now wanted to train Xiao Xian from the beginning. While Morong Yu was training Xiao Xian, Qin Xiaowei was also constantly investigating the location of the treasuries of the Heavenly Punisher Palace and other factions. Back in the Hanging Mountains, after a period of recuperation and suppression of the Hanging Mountains, Fan Tong was about to get married again. 10 years later, Fan Tong and Ouyang Fei would marry. At this time, the invitations for Fan Tong's wedding had already been sent out. After the previous incident, Fan Guo and the others all stayed in the Suspended Mountain sect this time. They didn't even personally send out the invitations. This time, if nothing unexpected happened, Fan Tong's wedding wouldn't be delayed again. On this day, Qin Xiaowei found Morong Yu. Qin Xiaowei, immediately hide yourself. Compete with Xiao Xian and see who can find the other first, Morong Yu said confidently without waiting for Qin Xiaowei to speak. Qin Xiaowei smiled. Was there a need to compete? How long had Xiao Xian been trained as an assassin? And how long had he been an assassin? There was no comparison at all. However, he also wanted to test the results of Xiao Xian's training. Therefore, he hid himself. However, he was soon shocked. Chapter 1059. After hiding in the void, Qin Xiaowei began to seriously search for traces of Xiao Xian, who had hidden herself long ago. Of course, he did not spread his divine telekinesis. Although divine telekinesis was formless, it would cause ripples in the space when it spread out. Therefore, it was very easy for others to discover where he was hiding. Therefore, as assassins who were good at hiding in the void, they never used their divine telekinesis to search for enemies hiding in the void. They only relied on their senses. The so-called perceptive power was the ability to feel the fluctuations of the void in the void. No matter how well a person hid, as long as they did not truly become one with the void would ripple as soon as they moved. After Qin Xiaowei hid in the void, he began to sense. However, there were no ripples in the space where he could sense. Moreover, due to the limited use of his sense, he began to move. However, after searching the space, he still did not find Xiao Xian. Could it be that Xiao Xian is not here? This thought flashed through Qin Shaowei's mind. However, he quickly rejected this idea. If Xiao Xian was not here, would Murong Yu be so bored as to tease him? Therefore, Xiao Xian must be here. He just did not discover her. Xiao Xian was hiding here and he did not discover her? Qin Shaowei could not help but be shocked. However, he did not believe that Xiao Xian's art of concealment was so powerful. Therefore, he continued to search. However, after doing this many times, he could not help but give up. He really did not discover Xiao Xian. After discovering this, Qin Shaowei couldn't help but take a big hit, and his face was dejected. However, in Murong Yu's eyes, Xiao Xian was still standing in the same spot without moving. Qin Shaowei, who was searching, even brushed past Xiao Xian a few times. Even so, he did not discover Xiao Xian. Seeing the depressed Qin Shaowei, Murong Yu could not help but laugh. He looked at Qin Shaowei, who was hiding in the void, and said, "Shaowei, it's Xiao Xian's turn to attack now. You can hide in the void without moving. You can hide at any time." Immediately, Qin Shaowei moved quickly. After changing his position a few times, Murong Yu asked Xiao Xian to start looking for him. Xiao Xian's concealment ability is strong, but her anti-concealment ability shouldn't be that good, right? Qin Shaowei thought to himself as he fused into the void without moving. Qi. However, at this moment, a sword light suddenly shot out in front of him. It carried a terrifying power that could destroy the world as it shot towards his forehead. Qin Shaowei was immediately shocked. In the beginning, he did not dodge. This was because he felt that Xiao Xian had accidentally slashed at him with her sword. But soon, he was forced to retreat. This was because Xiao Xian's sword did not deviate at all when it slashed down. After Qin Shaowei retreated, Xiao Xian retreated back into the void. At the same time, Qin Shaowei also sensed Xiao Xian. In the beginning, he had indeed sensed Xiao Xian's presence. However, he soon lost his ability to sense Xiao Xian's presence. Qin Shaowei's heart sank. He shifted continuously in the void and changed his position a few times. However, just as he stood still, a sword light appeared out of nowhere and shot towards his forehead again. Qin Shaowei was shocked and retreated again. After 3 consecutive times, Qin Shaowei finally revealed himself. He came to Murong Yu's side with a gloomy face and asked in confusion, "Murong Yu, how did you train Xiao Xian? Right now, her movement technique has completely surpassed mine. She can even be compared to the top assassins in the organization." Xiao Xian's concealment and anti-concealment abilities definitely surpass most of the heaven-ranked assassins in the organization, Murong Yu said calmly. Clearly, he was very satisfied with Xiao Xian's current ability. "How did you train her? If you're the instructor, you'll definitely be able to train a group of top-notch assassins." Qin Shaowei asked again as he looked at Murong Yu with blazing eyes. "A group of top assassins?" Murong Yu was stunned. Then, his heart skipped a beat. He never had a method in this area. Although the formation formula couldn't be taught to others, Murong Yu could create a concealment technique based on the formula. This technique didn't need to be too powerful. For example, Xiao Xian hadn't practiced the concealment technique for many years. However, under Murong Yu's training, her status surpassed most of the heaven-ranked assassins. If he chose a group of people in Shenzhen and trained them all to Xiao Xian's level, coupled with powerful assassination abilities, they would definitely be a pair of top assassins. This idea needs to be carefully considered and see if it's feasible. Murong Yu patted Qin Shaowei's shoulder and smiled. "Shaowei, you've helped me a lot." On the other hand, Qin Shaowei looked at Murong Yu with a blank expression. He had no idea what Murong Yu was talking about. "Train Xiao Xian using my method. If you're willing, I can train you a little." However, your talent is not as good as Xiao Xian's. You might not be able to achieve that. Murong Yu smiled at Qin Shaowei. Damn. He was shocked again. Qin Shaowei couldn't help but feel depressed. Hee, big brother, you're shocked, right? Xiao Xian's voice sounded. At the same time, she appeared beside Qin Shaowei. Qin Shaowei glared at her and said, just concealing your aura isn't enough. You also need powerful strength. Otherwise, with just a slap from those experts, even the void would be annihilated. It's useless no matter how good you are at concealment. Murong Yu's face darkened. Shaowei, your strength isn't that great. Aren't you just at the sky realm? Of course I can't compare to a freak like you, Qin Shaowei said with a dark face. However, this guy's talent was undeniable. He was already at the peak of the Sky Realm and could break through to the Sky Lord Realm at any time. Big brother, you and Big brother Murong must have something to talk about, right? I'll go find Uncle Xing first. As she spoke, Xiao Xian's figure flashed, and she disappeared into the void. In fact, before Qin Shaowei came, Murong Yu had already finished training Xiao Xian. If Xiao Xian wanted to improve, it was no longer something that could be improved by short-term training. She had to rely on long-term cultivation. I've already investigated the Heavenly Punisher Palace, Immortal Palace, Sacred Gate, and Devil Sex Treasure Vault. Other than the Heavenly Punisher Palace, the other forces are just ordinary forces. However, although the Heavenly Punisher Palace has declined, it's said that their strength is still very terrifying. As he spoke, Qin Shaowei pointed out, and the information he obtained was directly transmitted into Murong Yu's memory. Instantly, a rough map of the realm of gods appeared in Murong Yu's mind. There were 4 different colors and different sizes of lights flashing at different locations on the map. The brightest light is the headquarters of the 4 forces. The stronger the light, the more powerful the branch is, and the more valuable the treasures in the treasury. Murong Yu carefully and seriously looked at the map, and after he felt that there was nothing left, he nodded slightly. I must attend Fan Tong's wedding, so these treasure vaults have to wait until after Fan Tong's wedding. Moreover, although Shenzhen has risen to become one of the top forces in the realm of gods, however, Shenzhen doesn't have any secret plane. In the realm of gods, the top forces would have all kinds of secret planes. The so-called secret planes, in addition to all kinds of magic treasures and natural treasures, were also holy places for cultivation. For example, the gravity secret plane in the primitive continent could temper the body. Different secret planes had different cultivation effect, and if he wanted Shenzhen's disciples to improve their cultivation faster, and wanted to attract more people to join Shenzhen, then the secret plane was absolutely necessary. Abyssal College. It's time to make a trip to Abyssal College. Murong Yu's eyes flashed with a cold light. An important person in Abyssal College once wanted to control Murong Yu's mind, and Murong Yu felt that he could get some secret planes from this person. Murong Yu originally wanted to go to Abyssal College immediately, but he was worried that something unexpected would happen. Therefore, he decided to go after Fan Tong's wedding. Moreover, Fan Tong's wedding was a big event, and he also needed to prepare a gift. As Fan Tong's brother, this gift couldn't be too shabby. You and Fan Tong are friends, so this time you must attend the wedding. So, take advantage of these few years, prepare a big gift. And I will also bring Xiao Xian. Murong Yu muttered to himself, and then said to Qin Shaowei. Qin Shaowei nodded, and then left to prepare the gift. Murong Yu thought for a moment, and didn't immediately leave the ghost branch. When he left, he wanted to bring Qin Shaowei and Xiao Xian with him. Who is it? Chen Xing was originally sitting cross-legged in his room, cultivating, but suddenly, a formation he set up in the void was activated. Immediately, he roared and reached out his hand, directly grabbing the void where the formation was activated. Uncle Xing, be careful, don't kill me. A cry of surprise was heard. Who else could it be but Xiao Xian? Xiao Xian, it's you? How did you get in here? Chen Xing looked at the Xiao Xian in astonishment. This was because before Xiao Xian activated the formation, he didn't notice Xiao Xian's arrival at all. Of course, this didn't exclude the possibility that he was cultivating, and his vigilance in the ghost branch wasn't that high. However, no matter what, he was still a heaven-grade assassin, and an assassin's vigilance was always maintained. Xiao Xian giggled and said, "Of course I walked in like this. Uncle Xing, you didn't even notice me." Uncle Xing's eyes flashed with a fiery light, but his heart was even more shocked. Chapter 1060. Murongyu, even I can't compare to your concealment skills. Moreover, you managed to train Xiao Xian in such a short time. Are you sure you don't want to be Ghost's instructor? You don't have to worry about the treatment. You'll definitely be satisfied. After asking Xiao Xian in detail and testing her concealment skills, Chen Xing found Murongyu. His eyes were burning with eagerness, and he wanted Murongyu to be Ghost's instructor. However, Murongyu rejected him directly. How would he have so much time to train an assassin? Moreover, even if he had time, it would be to train Shengzhen's people. Although Ghost treated him well, it was not Murongyu's own force after all. As the saying went, there was a difference between close and distant relatives. Shengzhen was Murongyu's biological son. Of course, he would pour all his efforts into Shengzhen. Chen Xing did not give up after being rejected by Murongyu without hesitation. Instead, he asked again. That was why he said the previous sentence. However, Murongyu had already made up his mind. Naturally, he would not agree. Chen Xing sighed. He knew that this matter was probably not going to work out. However, he did not have much hope in the first place. After rejecting Chen Xing's invitation, Murongyu brought Qin Xiaowei and Xiao Xian back to Shengzhen. Big pervert, who is she? Seeing the smiling Xiao Xian holding Murongyu's hand and walking over, Kurlan, who was already lying in Shengzhen, immediately glared at Xiao Xian with hostility. Kurlan was secretly annoyed. In terms of figure and appearance, how could she lose to Xiao Xian? Moreover, she was more mature than Xiao Xian. In terms of family background, she was not bad either. Most importantly, she was now throwing herself at him. However, Murongyu was indifferent. But now, he had brought another woman back? Seeing how intimate they were, Lan Qir felt her anger rising. She wanted nothing more than to send Murongyu flying with a slap. As Murongyu's friend, Qin Xiaowei knew about Kurlan. When he saw Kurlan's hostile gaze, Qin Xiaowei cursed in his heart. He felt Kurlan's hostile gaze on him. Xiao Xian snorted coldly. She hugged Murongyu's hands even tighter and leaned closer to him. At the same time, she looked at Kurlan provocatively. Kurlan's lungs were about to explode. She snorted coldly and appeared on the other side of Murongyu in a flash. Just like Xiao Xian, she hugged Murongyu's other hand tightly. Hugging one woman on each side, the blessing of two wives? Murongyu didn't feel that way. All he felt was helplessness. Murongyu's eldest son, Murongxian, laughed loudly when he saw this scene. Haha, looks like our father's charm hasn't diminished. There are still such beautiful women fighting over him. I think father should just take them in. We'll have 2 more stepmothers then, Murongyi said with a smile. Zhao Jiqing and the other women only looked at Murongyu with smiles on their faces. Xiao Xian couldn't help but blush when she heard Murongxian's conversation. She and Murongyu didn't have that kind of relationship. Xiao Xian, why aren't you letting go? You've been misunderstood. Qin Xiaowei finally glared at Xiao Xian. Xiao Xian giggled and let go of Murongyu's hand. On the other side, Kurlan was still hugging Murongyu tightly. She looked like she wouldn't let go even if she died. Xiao Xian looked at Kurlan, then at Murongyu and said with a smile, Big brother Murong, this big sister seems to like you a lot. Why don't you marry them? Kurlan's hostility toward Xiao Xian disappeared when she heard Xiao Xian's words. Her favorability towards Xiao Xian rose like crazy. Murongyu's face darkened. All right, let's not talk about this anymore. You all should get ready. We're going to Floating Mountain to attend Fan Tong's wedding. Remember, you all have to prepare your own gift. Murong Yu glared at Kurlan, then walked toward the temple. Kurlan was still hugging Murong Yu's arm tightly. She quickly followed. By the time Murong Yu and his family arrived at the Floating Mountain, the place was already bustling with activity. People were coming and going, and it was many times livelier than during Fan Tong's wedding. When Murong Yu and his family appeared, they immediately attracted the attention of countless people. It wasn't because Murong Yu was too famous. Murong Yu's name had shaken the entire god realm. However, not many people had seen him before. Therefore, not many people could recognize him after he appeared. What attracted the attention of countless people were Zhao Jiqing and the others beside Murong Yu. Zhao Jiqing, Yu Mengqing, Murong Lin, Murong Yan, Kurlan, and Xiao Xian. Which one of them wasn't an absolute beauty? They were devastatingly beautiful and peerless, especially Zhao Jiqing and the others who had eaten the primal chaos snow lotus. Their faces were glowing. They were so beautiful that people couldn't look straight at them. Beauties, no matter where, no matter the occasion, would always attract the attention of others. Therefore, Murong Yu naturally had the opportunity to overlook them. Even Wen Ling and the other quasi-saint experts beside him were ignored. Beauties, while everyone was stunned by the beauty of Zhao Jiqing and the others, a bold and lustful young man quickly rushed out from the crowd. He stood in front of everyone and stared at Zhao Jiqing. Everyone's aptitude was at the level of peerless. However, if there was one who was more beautiful, it would be Zhao Jiqing. Beautiful and noble. Moreover, because Zhao Jiqing had the bloodline of the Phoenix clan, as she became stronger, the noble bloodline in her body was gradually revealed. This was a fatal temptation to any man. Scram! Murong Yu frowned slightly but didn't say anything. A level 7 quasi-saint beside him shouted coldly and kicked the young man in the air. Because of the previous incident in the Divine Union, Murong Yu had brought Wen Ling and another level 7 quasi-saint with him this time. The reason for this was because he was worried that someone would cause trouble at Fan Tong's wedding. When he kicked the young man in the air, the level 7 quasi-saint released his terrifying aura as a level 7 quasi-saint. Although this supreme pressure only lasted for a moment, it was deeply imprinted in the souls of the nearby people, causing them to be terrified and retreat continuously. This was the advantage of having subordinate. If they encountered trouble, they didn't have to do anything themselves. If Wen Ling and the others hadn't followed him, Murong Yu would have had to do it himself. Damn it, who the hell is this bastard? How could there be such a terrifying powerhouse? After Murong Yu and the others left, the crowd started to discuss among themselves. Shu, lower your voice. That young man in black is Murong Yu. He's the one who destroyed the Divine Union. He's the sacred master of the primal chaos, Shengzhen. He has 10 quasi-saint ranked powerhouses under him. A powerhouse recognized Murong Yu and whispered to the person beside him. SSS. He's Murong Yu? No wonder the person beside him is so powerful. Everyone was stunned. They were all secretly glad that they hadn't provoked Murong Yu. When the young man who had been bold enough to do so heard the crowd's discussion, he was so shocked that his face turned pale. In the end, he staggered and fell to the ground, unconscious. He had actually been scared unconscious by Murong Yu. One had to know that he wasn't weak. He was a heavenly emperor. Ha ha ha. Murong Yu, you're finally here. I thought you'd forgotten about your brother's wedding. Fan Tong laughed heartily as he walked out of the fan residence. You're so lost in love that you forgot about your brother's wedding. Murong Yu's face immediately darkened. What did he mean by falling in love? Was he that kind of person? However, he still smiled and said, How can I not attend your wedding? Besides, I've brought 2 helpers this time. As he spoke, Murong Yu pointed at Wen Ling, and Wen Ling Fan Tong was overjoyed. With 2 high-level quasi-saint powerhouses overseeing the Floating Mountain sect, His father and mother would have more time to prepare for his wedding. After all, although the Fan family was powerful, the more powerful a person was, the more enemies they would have and the stronger they would be. The two of you will oversee the floating mountain sect. If anyone comes to cause trouble, kill them without mercy. Murong Yu instructed Wenling, and Wenling nodded, and their figures flickered and disappeared. Fan Tong, this is the gift I've prepared for you. With that, Murong Yu flicked a storage ring. Fan Tong immediately glared at Murong Yu and said unhappily, "You coming is the best gift. How can I accept other gift? Take a look at what's inside first. It won't be too late for you to say that after you've seen it," Murong Yu said indifferently. Fan Tong's heart moved, and his divine consciousness entered the storage ring. 100,000 enlightenment pills, 10 sacred saliva fruits, 10,000 kilograms of sacred marrow. There weren't many things in the storage ring. There were only 3 types. Every time he saw one, Fan Tong cried out in surprise. Then, with a thought, the storage ring on his hand disappeared. "Ha ha, I'll accept your gift." Murong Yu blushed with shame. Fan Tong was too much. However, the things on the list were all priceless. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't be polite. "Alright, everyone, don't just stand here. I've already prepared a place for you to stay. You're the only ones who have the right to stay in the Fan family." They were now in the Fan family, where Fan Tong and the other 4 lived. Even the Fan family's disciples couldn't enter. As for the other guests, they were all being served outside. They didn't have the right to enter. "Fan Tong, where's Sister Ouyang?" Kurlon jumped out and asked. Murong Yu and Fan Tong's faces immediately darkened. They hadn't officially gotten married yet, right? Ouyang Fei was naturally in the Ouyang family, waiting for Fan Tong to go fetch her. Therefore, in the next few days, Fan Tong, the groom, would go to the Ouyang family to fetch the bride, and then return to the floating mountain to perform the ceremony. Only then would the ceremony be complete. Chapter 1061. The distance between the floating mountain and the Ouyang family was extremely far. Even with the teleportation formation, it would still take a long time for the bride to arrive. Of course, this amount of time was nothing to a god. After all, the lifespan of a god was measured in epoch. Tens of thousands of years or hundreds of thousands of years were nothing. However, the Fan family and Murong Yu had killed more than 10 quasi-saint level experts in the Heaven domain. The Devil clan would definitely hold a grudge against this. News of Fan Tong's marriage spread like wildfire throughout the god realm. The Devil clan would definitely not let go of this opportunity. They would definitely ambush the experts of the Fan family on the way to the wedding. They did not seek to kill Fan Tong and the Fan family, but they sought to kill Fan Tong and the others. They wanted to dampen the spirits of the Fan family and the human clan. If they really succeeded this time, the Fan family and the human clan would definitely suffer a heavy blow. Therefore, how to escort the bride and how to deal with the ambush of the Devil clan experts was a serious problem. Because no one knew where the Devil clan experts would attack from. Murong Yu stood up and indifferently said to Fangor and the others, "Leave the bridal escort to me." With Hichu Luoshu's ability, it would not take long for him to go to the Ouyang family and escort the bride. Even if the Devil clan experts wanted to ambush them, they would be powerless. Hearing this, Fangor and the others' eyes suddenly flashed with a bright light. They all knew how terrifying Murong Yu's holy weapon was. If he went to escort the bride, there would be no danger at all. Unless the Devil clan experts dared to attack the Ouyang family or the floating mountain. However, the Devil clan experts would not dare to do so. Everyone, escorting the bride is the most important thing. However, since the Devil clan experts dared to invade, if we do not give them a head-on blow, they will think that there are no experts in the human clan. Fan Tong and the others immediately looked at Murong Yu. "I will escort the bride in secret first and bring her over from the Ouyang family." On the other hand, Uncle and the others pretended to welcome the bride, and led the wedding procession out of the Ouyang family aboveboard. I've deployed some of Shenzhen's quasi-saint experts to ambush the wedding procession. It would be fine if the demon race experts didn't make a move. And if they dare to make a move, we'll make sure they won't be able to return. As he spoke, a cold light flashed in Murong Yu's eyes. Xiao Yu, our fan family also has some quasi-saint level experts. Shenzhen's quasi-saint did not need to come out. I'm afraid that the demons will become Shenzhen themselves, said Madame Fan slowly. No matter, I'll let Wenling guard Shenzhen alone. Even if the demon clan dares to invade Shenzhen, with Wenling's strength, he should be able to hold them off for a bit. He can definitely wait for me to come back to help. Murong Yu said indifferently. He had this plan long ago. Immediately, they discussed for half a day before dispersing. The next day, Fan Gua, Madame Fan, Fan Tong, Fan Gang, Murong Yu, and some disciples of the Fan family left the floating mountain and headed towards the Ouyang family. As for Fan Xiao, he stayed in the floating mountain. After all, there were a large number of guests in the floating mountain. Among these guests, there was no lack of enemies. If there were no experts in charge, the floating mountain would be in a mess because of them. Apart from Wenling, Shenzhen's remaining 9 quasi-saint level experts were hidden in Murong Yu's Hichu Luoshu world. Apart from Shenzhen's experts, there were also some quasi-saint level experts that Fan Gua had invited. Of course, these experts were not exposed. They were all kept in the storage space. However, with just a thought from Fan Gua, these quasi-gods could appear directly. Only Fan Gua and Madame Fan have 2 quasi-saint level experts? And some disciples of the Fan family? The experts of the Devil clan wanted to take the opportunity to make a move. As soon as Fan Gua and the others left the floating mountain, they received accurate information. Given Fan Gua's character, he will definitely be on guard. Besides, apart from the Devil clan, there will definitely be people from the Human clan who will kill Fan Gua and the others. Therefore, it is impossible for Fan Gua to not bring a single quasi-saint with him, another expert of the Devil clan said in a low voice. You mean, all the quasi-saint experts he brought are in the storage space? If that is the case, I don't know how strong they are, a Devil clan expert said with a slight frown. This time, Fan Gua is dealing with the experts of the Devil clan and the Human clan. I believe there will be many people who will attack when the time comes, and Fan Gua must be prepared. This time, he will try to catch all the experts of the Human clan in one fell swoop. Therefore, our quasi-saint must be well prepared. After a long period of flying and continuous teleportation, Murong Yu and the others finally arrived at the Ouyang clan. The Ouyang clan was also one of the super forces of the God realm. There were also experts of the quasi-saint level. However, the experts of the quasi-saint level in the Ouyang clan were usually in seclusion. Unless the clan was in a life-and-death situation, they would definitely not show themselves. Therefore, on the surface, the Ouyang clan did not have any quasi-saint level existences. However, the Ouyang clan's power was not weak at all. Before Murong Yu and the others entered the Ouyang clan, they could feel the jubilant atmosphere of the Ouyang clan. The liveliness was not inferior to the Fan clan. It was even more so than the Fan clan. After all, not everyone was qualified to enter the floating mountain. Some people who were not related to the Ouyang clan could not enter the floating mountain even if they wanted to take the opportunity to curry favor with the Fan clan. However, the Ouyang clan was different. Other than the people they invited, there were many other people who came. There were also many other powers that had come to curry favor with the Hanging Mountain. Regardless of whether it was in terms of power or numbers, the Hanging Mountain was vastly outnumbered. The Ouyang clan did not refuse any of these. After all, today was a joyous day. They would not treat them coldly. When Murong Yu and the others arrived at the Tianyang region, Old Master Ouyang led the core members of the Ouyang clan to welcome them. Old Man Pei was one of them. The Fan clan was their Qin clan. Fangua and the Fan clan's strength of the 10th level quasi-saint was also worthy of them coming out to welcome them. Fangua and the others also smiled at the Ouyang clan. The relationship between the two clans was not bad to begin with. This was the first time Morongyu saw Old Master Ouyang after so many years. In the beginning, there were some problems with Old Master Ouyang's soul, a soul mutation. At that time, Morongyu was also helpless. In the end, he found out that a soul mutation was an opportunity to become a saint. Therefore, he suggested that Old Master Ouyang study and comprehended himself. Now, he saw that Old Master Ouyang had broken through to the 1st level quasi-saint. He must have some understanding of slowing down the soul mutation. Apart from Old Master Ouyang, Morongyu was even more surprised to see that Old Man Pei was also a quasi-saint. This caused Morongyu to be astonished. "Kid, are you allowed to raise your cultivation level, but I'm not allowed to break through?" When Morongyu looked at Old Man Pei in surprise, Old Man Pei's voice sounded in his mind. "Haha, I just find it strange. Old Man Pei, with your aptitude, you can enter the quasi-saint stage. It really surprises me." Old Man Pei was speechless. Morongyu was mocking him. He immediately said, "Today is a joyous day. I won't bicker with you for now. I'll slowly settle this with you later." Morongyu laughed it off. They were immediately welcomed in by Old Master Ouyang and the others. After that, Morongyu didn't have to do anything. Moreover, he had been married before. He knew how boring the process was. Therefore, he immediately slipped out and found Old Man Pei, who was eating and drinking. "Kid, come here." When he saw Morongyu, Old Man Pei immediately glared at Morongyu. "Old Man Pei, are you trying to suppress me? Although you've broken through to the 1st level of quasi-saint, you're still not strong enough to suppress me." Morongyu walked over and said with a smile. Old Man Pei was speechless. He almost couldn't help but want to suppress Morongyu. He felt that Morongyu was too arrogant. However, Morongyu had the right to be arrogant. "Are you prepared this time? Our Ouyang family has prepared a few quasi-saint. However, there aren't many of them." When Morongyu walked over, Old Man Pei immediately asked in a low voice. Morongyu smiled. Fangua should be discussing this matter with Old Master Ouyang right now. Immediately, he smiled and said, "The experts from your side and our experts are enough to make those demons and even the humans suffer a lot. I'll make sure you don't leave." "You brought Shengzhen's quasi-saint here?" Old Man Pei looked at Morongyu in surprise. At the same time, he continued to ask, "What happened to you in the Qingyun realm? How did you subdue those 10 quasi-saint? Do you really want to know?" Morongyu looked at Old Man Pei with a smile. Old Man Pei nodded. In fact, many people were interested in what happened to Morongyu after he entered the Qingyun realm. However, other than the person involved, no one knew. Because no one said anything. "I entered the real Qingyun realm and then came out. Those quasi-saint were all people trapped in the Qingyun realm. Because I brought them out, they submitted to me." Old Man Pei immediately jumped up and couldn't help but exclaim. He naturally knew about the Qingyun realm. It was a terrifying place where one could enter but not leave. There are over 10 million quasi-saint there. Do you want to go in and take a look? If Old Man Pei had been shocked before, he was now scared stiff. Over 10 million quasi-saint, what kind of concept was that? The total number of quasi-saint in the God realm was probably less than 1 in 1,000. "Kid, what kind of opportunity did you get in there? How did you get out of that damned place?" Old Man Pei suppressed his shock and asked. Morongyu wanted to speak, but at this moment, a communication jade slip in his body vibrated. Then, a message entered his mind. With a thought, Morongyu read the message. Then, a cold smile appeared on his face. "The devil race is moving. It's time for us to move too." Chapter 1062. Tens of thousands of people left the Ouyang family and headed back to the Fan family. The lineup was the same as when they arrived. Murong Yu and the others were all present. However, there was an extra escort team. Although these people were the core members of the Ouyang family, there were no quasi-saint level expert. Old Master Ouyang, who was quasi-saint level, was not in the escort team. It was not in line with etiquette and there was no need to. Fangor appeared beside Murong Yu and asked, "Murong Yu, are you sure that the Goblin clan's quasi-saint has set up an ambush in the Shirtai region?" Murong Yu nodded. He had received this information from the Ghost organization not long ago. When Murong Yu came to escort the bride, he had already gotten rid of the Ghost organization to investigate the relevant information. As the most powerful assassin organization in the God realm, the Ghost organization's intelligence was extremely terrifying. It did not take long for them to find out the general movements of the Goblin clan experts. However, they could not find out the specifics. However, this was enough. The Shirtai region was extremely far away from the floating mountain. However, the Ouyang family's Tianyang region was not very far away. These people dared to make a move here. When the Ouyang family experts heard the news, their eyes turned cold. This was clearly a slap to the Ouyang family's face. They dared to make a move here because they felt that the Ouyang family was not strong enough. Murong Yu, if there are not many experts on the other side, the Shenzhen quasi-saint should not come out. Only the Fan family and the Ouyang family need to deal with them. If there are too many enemies, the Shenzhen experts will make a move and kill them all, Fangua said with a murderous look. Most of the people in the bridal procession were unaware of this. In fact, they did not know that such a thing would happen. They probably thought that with the Fan family and the Ouyang family's strength, no one would dare to touch them. With the strength of the escort team of the two families, they quickly entered the Shirtai region. Those who didn't know anything didn't know anything. As for Murong Yu and the others, who were already aware of the situation, after entering the Shirtai region, they could sense the boundless killing intent hidden within. He didn't know if it was a psychological effect. Fangor and the others pretended as if nothing had happened, but they were secretly checking. Their divine consciousness spread out and constantly scanned the surrounding void. This was normal. If they didn't even use their divine sense to scan the area, wouldn't that be telling the people lying in ambush that they already knew where they were hiding? However, they didn't find anything along the way. Even Murong Yu did not notice it. If Murong Yu didn't discover it, then he really didn't discover it. Could it be that the monster clan's quasi-saint didn't attack here? Murong Yu was puzzled. His eyes flickered as he scanned the surroundings. Boom, boom, boom. Right at this moment, a few earth-shattering noises suddenly exploded like thunder. A terrifying aura that could destroy heaven and earth shot out from the sky and pressed down. At this moment, other than the experts at the level of quasi-saint, the hearts of the experts at the peak of the heavenly venerable realm were enveloped by an extremely strong aura of death. The panic-stricken crowd looked up and saw that high up in the sky, a few large hands had cracked the sky. With a terrifying aura that could destroy everything, they quickly pressed down. In the blink of an eye, a few large hands covered the entire sky and crashed down on the crowd's head. The power emitted by the huge hand almost killed all the deities in the wedding procession. Quasi-saint, someone in the crowd exclaimed. However, Fangua and the Fan clan reacted extremely quickly. The moment the enemy attacked, they attacked. Fangua roared angrily. His invincible divine fist locked onto the large hands in the sky and punched out. On the other hand, the Fan clan snorted coldly and reached out with their hands. A huge energy shield appeared out of thin air and enveloped the bridal escort team. The extremely strong aura of death that pressed down on the crowd's hearts disappeared. At the same time, Fangua was already fighting with the quasi-saint. Fangua did not hide his terrifying strength as a 10th-order quasi-saint. He directly raised his strength to the maximum and fiercely bombarded the large hands of the dozen quasi-saint that were attacking him. The strength of the people who launched the sneak attack was definitely not weak. They were not low-level quasi-saint. However, against a 10th-order quasi-saint like Fangua, they were not enough. Rumble under Fangua's full strength, the large hands were directly shattered. However, Fangua's attack only depleted a portion of his strength. Which scoundrel dares to launch a sneak attack? Fangua roared angrily. His figure flashed, and he was about to soar into the sky and chase after the quasi-saint. However, he was suppressed by the Fan clan. "Don't be rash," the Fan clan said in a low voice. "These bastards!" Fangua was extremely angry. This was because the attackers were not experts of the demon race, but demi-saints of the human race. These people were definitely enemies of the Fan clan. Otherwise, they would not have attacked. However, didn't the Ghost organization receive news that the Demon clan would attack in the Shirtai region? Now, the ones who attacked were human clan experts. Could these people have colluded with the Demon clan? Fangua was not angry that these people attacked. He was angry that these people were colluding with the Demon clan experts. If the Fan clan had not stopped him, and if it was not for the fact that the timing was not right, he would have chased after these people and killed them completely. Although he was suppressed, the angry Fangua still looked at Murongyu. Murongyu's eyes flashed coldly as he nodded slightly. A murderous intent flashed in his heart. "I remember the aura of these people. After this matter, it won't be too late to settle the score with them slowly." After witnessing Murongyu's terrifying tracking technique, the anger in Fangua's heart gradually dissipated. This was because he knew that Murongyu would definitely be able to find these people. How can there be people who dare to attack our two clans? Do they not want to live anymore? Everyone in the bridal escort team discussed spiritedly. These people are too much. After this matter, we must settle the score with them properly. Countless people were furious. Because Fangua and the Fan clan had reacted in time, no one in the team was injured. Therefore, they were soon on their way again. On the way, Murongyu's vigilance was raised to the extreme. This was because he suddenly realized that although these people attacked in the Shirtai region, their real bodies might not be in the Shirtai region. Instead, they were attacking from far away. Because their real bodies had not been here, Murongyu naturally could not discover them. Regarding this, Fangua and the Fan clan's expressions turned grave. The Shirtai region was even larger than the Tianyang region. However, with everyone's speed, they would soon pass through it. As long as they reached a city in front of them, they would be able to use the teleportation array to teleport further away. All of a sudden, the bridal procession stopped. They had no choice but to stop because it was difficult for them to move, as if someone had frozen them in place. Even the 10th Order Quasi-Saint Fangua and the Fan clan's speed was restricted. A formation. In an instant, everyone came to their senses. Just as everyone was trapped by the formation, an incomparably unpleasant sound rang out. It was like a broken gong that drilled into everyone's ears, causing their ears to shatter and blood to flow from their ears. At the same time, more than a dozen Demon clan experts with soaring demonic auras stepped into the air and looked down at Murongyu and the others. "Fan clan, Ouyang clan. This time, we'll catch all of you in one fell swoop," a quasi-saint from the Demon clan grinned maliciously, containing endless murderous intent. Fangua stepped into the air, while the Fan clan stood in the crowd. Their aura erupted like a tide, enveloping and protecting everyone. In the Tianyang region, not only did you Demon clan experts fail to catch all of us in one fell swoop, on the contrary, I killed more than a dozen quasi-saint clan experts. Could it be that you think you can annihilate us in the human territory? Fangua sneered, disdainful of the demon race expert's strength. Fangua, get all the quasi-saint clan experts in your interspatial space to come out. Today, no matter how many quasi-saint clan experts you have, they will all die. Do you know what formation is trapping you? Have you heard of the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation? A quasi-saint from the Demon clan grinned maliciously. The Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation. Hearing this, Fan Guo and the others' expressions changed. We're only here to maintain the formation. We don't need to do anything to kill you. Another quasi-saint from the demon clan sneered. The Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation is a spatial formation. It has a terrifying killing power. The most terrifying thing is not the formation's power, but that this formation is only a projection of the real formation. The person who set up the formation controls the real formation from afar, and kills from a distance. The real formation in front of us, if I'm not wrong, should be in the demon clan's territory. Murong Yu was about to ask Hichu, but Hichu explained first. Murong Yu's expression changed. In other words, the demon clan experts only need to control the formation in the demon clan's territory, and they can kill us? Furthermore, we can't interfere with them? Because no one is stopping them, they can freely increase the killing power of the formation. If 10 people can't kill you, they can increase it to 20, 30, or even more. The more people there are, the more terrifying the formation's power is. Doesn't that mean we can't escape? Murong Yu's expression darkened, and an ominous feeling rose in his heart. This formation is only a projection, and it can't be destroyed. However, it's not impossible to destroy this formation. As long as you leave the area covered by the formation, even if the formation is 1,000 times stronger, it can't do anything to you. Moreover, this projection was set up in the stone stage region for a reason. This is because not every place can withstand this projection. It requires a specific terrain and so on. Then how can we get out? We can't move at all now, Murong Yu said anxiously. At the same time, the formation had started to move, and a terrifying power was released. It wanted to kill Murong Yu and the others in one fell swoop. Chapter 1063. Although it's a projection, it's still equivalent to a real formation. If we have enough power, we can destroy it temporarily. Before it's projected again, we just have to get out of here, Hichu said in Murong Yu's mind. Creak, creak, while Hichu was speaking, the formation had already started to move. Suddenly, an extremely powerful force appeared out of thin air and rushed towards everyone like a raging wave. At that moment, everyone's hearts were enveloped by an extremely powerful aura. Instantly, everyone's faces turned pale. Some people even fainted from the shock. However, the Fan clan's strength was not to be underestimated. They were extremely powerful. The explosive force drowned everyone and temporarily blocked the attack of the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation. Under the protection of the Fan clan, there were no casualties for the time being. However, this was only a temporary thing. Uncle, it's the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation. We have to get out of this formation to escape. Otherwise, this formation will not be destroyed, but we will be destroyed by the formation in the end. Murong Yu could only shout as the situation was urgent. Fangua's face was gloomy. He also knew how terrifying the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation was. Immediately, he said coldly, get all the quasi-saint out of the storage space and kill our way out. Otherwise, we won't be spared. Although Fanguo was a rank 10 quasi-saint, who knew how many quasi-saints were controlling the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation in the demon race's territory, if there were a few hundred quasi-saints controlling it at the same time, unless it was a saint, anyone would be killed. There was no way they would be spared. In order to break through the projection, they had to do it before the formation was activated. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, countless experts rushed out of Fanguo and the Fan clan's storage space. All of them were surging with energy and aura. It's the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation. After many quasi-saints appeared, Fanguo shouted, everyone, attack together and destroy this formation projection, Fanguo shouted. As he spoke, Fanguo looked at Murong Yu. Because Shengzhen's quasi-saint did not appear. Murong Yu shook his head. He originally wanted to release all the quasi-saint. However, He changed his mind at the last minute. 20 quasi-saint? Kaka, today, all of you will be buried here. Seeing so many quasi-saints appearing out of thin air, before those who were escorting the bride and the bridegroom could rejoice, the unpleasant voice of the quasi-saint of the monster clan drifted over again. Everyone's faces turned pale and powerless once again. Since the monster quasi-saint was so confident, didn't that mean that even if there were more quasi-saints, they wouldn't be able to break through this array? Fangua's face immediately darkened. If more than 20 quasi-saints were nothing in their eyes, then it was certain that the quasi-saint who controlled the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation in the Monster Clan's territory was definitely more powerful than more than 20 quasi-saints. After the experts of the quasi-saints level appeared, they began to increase their strength. A portion of their strength was used to protect the crowd, but most of their strength was used to attack the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation in an attempt to destroy it. Put these people into the storage space first, Fangua shouted. He waved his hand and was about to put everyone into the storage space. However, what made Fangua's face turn ugly was that he couldn't put anyone into the storage space at all. In the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation, you can only take things out of the storage space. You can't put anything into the storage space. Fangua, give up. The monster quasi-saint's cold voice sounded. Murong Yu's heart sank. Just as he was about to try to put Hichu Luoshu into the storage space, Hichu's voice sounded in his mind. Hichu Luoshu can be put in the storage space, but there's a high chance that it will be swept into the turbulent space. Murong Yu immediately stopped what he was about to do. Can it be transported? Yes. As he spoke, more than 20 quasi-saints had already made their move. An enormous amount of energy bombarded the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation, causing the void to shatter and even be annihilated. However, the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation was not damaged at all. If you want to destroy the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation, you have to destroy the entire projection array in one go. Otherwise, any action will be a waste of energy, Hichu said in Murong Yu's mind. At the same time, Murong Yu also said loudly. Everyone's heart sank. With more than 20 quasi-saint strength, they could not even destroy a corner of the projection array, let alone destroy the entire array at the same time. Kill them! The circulation of the array was getting faster and faster. Waves of energy crazily struck the bodies of all the quasi-sages, attacking the power that they had unleashed. The energy that the quasi-saints released to protect everyone started to tremble violently. It was like a fallen leaf in a strong wind, about to be torn to pieces at any time. Once the energy was torn apart, the people that they were protecting would be torn to pieces as well. At the same time, the more than 10 quasi-saints outside the array smiled maliciously and began to attack. Waves of terrifying energy blasted towards Fangua and the others. The pressure on Fangua and the others suddenly increased dramatically. Puff! Under the bombardment of the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation, a rank 5 quasi-saints finally couldn't take it anymore and spat out a mouthful of blood. Even a rank 5 quasi-saints couldn't withstand the terrifying energy of the array. Seeing this person spit out blood, Fangua and the others' expressions changed drastically. How long had it been? If a rank 5 quasi-saints couldn't withstand it, then it wouldn't take long for those with higher cultivation levels to be injured and killed. Charge out! Fangua roared and was about to charge out of the array. Hearing Fangua's words, the faces of those who were escorting the bride and the groom turned pale. Was he going to give up on them? However, Fangua, who had spoken, didn't move. He looked at the quasi-saints that he had brought over. These people were his friends. He could die here, but he couldn't let them all die with him. A rank 7 quasi-saint said helplessly, I want to charge out, but this array is too disgusting. There's no way we can get out. In fact, as this person said, although they could use their power, it was destroyed by the array as soon as it was released. In the end, less than 10% of their power bombarded the array. In addition to the array, the attacks of the monster race quasi-saints were also very terrifying. Many of the quasi-saints within the array were spitting out blood. It was obvious that they had reached their limit. Uncle, I'm confident that I can leave the array. After I leave, I'll immediately kill the quasi-saints outside the array. Then, I'll destroy the array at the same time. Murong Yu came to Fangua's side and said in a deep voice. Fangua was overjoyed and quickly asked, "Can your saint artifact take them in?" "It can. But it's very likely that it will rush into the turbulent space," Murong Yu said in a deep voice. Fangua's heart sank. "Then leave here first. Attack from both sides." Poo, Murong Yu just nodded, and the 7th Order Quasi-Saint who spoke before couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. At this time, the powerhouses below the 7th Order Quasi-Saints could no longer bear it and retreated behind Fangua and the others. As the number of Quasi-Saints decreased, the pressure on Fangua and the others increased. "Murong Yu, I can only hold on for half an hour. In half an hour, I can guarantee that there won't be any casualties. But after half an hour, we will all be annihilated," Fangua said in a deep voice. Murong Yu nodded slightly and was about to enter the Hichu Luoshu. However, his body abruptly came to a halt. If he took in others, they might be swept into the turbulent space. Wouldn't it be the same for him? "Don't worry, you're the Lord of Hichu Luoshu. You're different from others. However, if it's a little later, you won't be able to enter." Hichu's voice sounded in Murong Yu's ears. Murong Yu didn't hesitate and disappeared in a flash. Where did he go? Murong Yu's disappearance was seen by many. And his conversation with Fangua was also heard by many. Let's hope he succeeds. But there are only 10 quasi-saints in the Shenzhen. How can they be a match for the quasi-saint outside? While everyone was thinking, Murong Yu had already returned to the Shenzhen. "Yang Qin, come with me," Murong Yu shouted as soon as he appeared, and then kept Yang Qin, who had yet to react, into the Hichu Luoshu world. At the same time, Murong Yu directly transmitted a message to Yang Qin's mind. Immediately, Yang Qin understood the whole story. "When you guys appear, use your strongest attack to kill the 10 or so quasi-saint from the Goblin clan," Murong Yu said in a low voice. Wen Ling, Yang Qin and the rest nodded quickly. As they spoke, Murong Yu had already teleported back to the vicinity of the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation, and only a few breaths of time had passed. However, at this time, other than Fangua and the Fan clan who were not injured, the rest of the Quasi-Saint had already been injured. On the other hand, the bridal escort team that was protected by the Quasi-Saint had not been injured. This was inevitable. The Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation and the attacks of the 10 or so Quasi-Saint outside had been withstood by Fangua and the rest. It was inevitable that they were not injured. However, at this time, many of the Quasi-Saint could not use their full strength. Only Fangua and the Fan clan were supporting them. However, the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation was getting more and more terrifying. Fangua and the Fan clan could not hold on for much longer. Put in more effort, they are about to die. More than 20 Quasi-Saint. I believe this will be a huge blow to the human clan. One of the Quasi-Saint from the Goblin clan laughed sinisterly as he threw punch after punch at Fangua. The other Quasi-Saint from the Goblin clan were also crazily attacking. All of them were extremely excited. Is that so? At this time, a cold voice rang in their ears. Then, the Quasi-Saint from the Goblin clan who had spoken earlier exploded. Chapter 1064. His entire body, soul, and even his godhead were all destroyed. This Quasi-Saint was as dead as a doornail. After this Quasi-Saint was killed, a group of 10 people stepped out from the void. It was Wen Ling, Yang Qin, and the others. 2 of them were rank 10 Quasi-Saint, while the other 7 were all rank 7 Quasi-Saint and above. With such a lineup, killing a rank 7 quasi-saint was as easy as slaughtering a chicken or a dog. Kill. After Wen Ling and the others appeared, they roared and unleashed their strongest attacks, attacking the demi-sages of the demon race around them. At this point, the demon quasi-saint experts had yet to react. Boom. Boom. Wen Ling and Yang Qin were both rank 10 quasi-saint experts, and were extremely powerful. Their first attack was their strongest attack. However, there were no rank 10 quasi-saint experts among the demon quasi-saint experts. Therefore, the moment they attacked, the 2 demi-saints of the demon race were killed. At the same time, Shenzhen's other quasi-saint experts were also facing off against the demon race experts. One by one, the demon quasi-saint experts fell. The tactic of Wen Ling and the others was very simple. They would first kill the demi-saints of the demon race who were weaker than them at lightning speed. Therefore, the moment they attacked, they faced off against the quasi-saint experts who were stronger than them. In fact, these demon quasi-saint experts were not very strong. The strongest was only rank 8, and there was only one of them. Most of them were rank 3 or rank 4 quasi-saint expert. On Shenzhen's side, the weakest quasi-saint was a rank 7 quasi-saint. Moreover, Wen Ling and the others launched a surprise attack. Therefore, it only took an instant for a dozen demi-saints of the demon race to be completely annihilated. It wasn't that they were too weak, but Shenzhen's quasi-saint was too strong. The divine world was not a heaven domain. In the heaven domain, there were hundreds of thousands of quasi-saints from both the human race and the monster race. But that was accumulated over countless years. In the divine world, heavenly venerables were considered super powerhouses, and a first-order quasi-saint was a peak powerhouse among super powerhouses. A Tier 3 quasi-saint was already extremely rare. On Fangua's side, the quasi-saint they had invited were all powerful individuals. Therefore, the weakest among them was a Tier 5 quasi-saint. On the other hand, the formation of a dozen quasi-saint from the demon race was already very powerful. It was just that Murong Yu's side was stronger. Kill them! He watched as his companions fell one after another without even having the time to resist. The remaining demi-saints of the demon race finally came to their senses. However, they were no match for Wen Ling and the others in the first place. What more after the death of 10 strong cultivators? Bang! 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 Wen Ling and the others attacked again, especially the 2 Tier 10 quasi-saints, Wen Ling and Yang Qin. Killing Tier 3 and Tier 4 quasi-saints did not take any effort at all. As for the other quasi-saints, although it was difficult for them to kill these quasi-saints in a short period of time, but they were able to kill a monster quasi-saints in a group of a few at a time. As a result, the demi-saints of 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 the demi Saints of the demi-saints 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 of the dozen or so quasi-saints were all killed. Not even a complete godhead was left behind. However, even though they were killed, Fangua and the others who were inside the formation did not have it easy at all. This was because the ones controlling the formation were not these monster quasi-saints, but the countless monster race experts within the monster race's territory. Pooh! Just as Wen Ling and the others killed the monster quasi-saints, Fangua, who was in the town, was finally injured and spat out blood. Murong Yu was shocked. In the Hichu Luoshu world, he could see that the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation's power was millions of times stronger than before. Even heavenly venerables could not get close to it. Even if they were 10 million miles away from the formation, they would be killed by the remaining power of the formation. Inside the formation, even Tier 3 and Tier 4 quasi-saints could not withstand it and were easily killed. Although Fangua and the others could still hold on, they were already severely injured. It was only a matter of time before they were killed. Therefore, Morongyu did not come out of the Hichu Luoshu world. He just watched from inside. Destroy the divine formation! Morongyu roared from inside the Hichu Luoshu world. When Ling and the others were in a hurry, they did not say anything and directly attacked the Great Void Annihilation divine formation with their strongest attack. At the same time, in the monster race's territory, in the Celestial Palace, in a forbidden area deep in the Celestial Palace, a group of 50 people sat in a circle on the ground. In front of them, or beside them, there were divine alliances flashing by. The power of these 50 people seeped out of their bodies and poured into the void in front of them. Waves of terrifying killing intent emanated from the void in front of them. If there were any outsiders here, they would definitely be shocked to see this. In front of these 50 people, there were countless shadows. If Morongyu was here, he would definitely recognize these shadows. They were Fangua and the others. In front of these 50 people was the true formation of the Great Void Divine Formation. In fact, the so-called formation could not be seen at all. However, its power was extremely terrifying. Even a projection of a formation that was billions of miles away could trap a top-notch expert like Fangua and almost kill him, let alone a real formation. Therefore, the 50 quasi-saint from the monster race were all solemnly pouring their power into the Great Void Annihilation divine formation to stimulate the power of the divine formation. However, during this process, they were very careful to avoid coming into contact with the divine formation. Otherwise, they would be killed. They would not even have the chance to escape. Boom! All of a sudden, the void in front of the 50 people exploded violently. Rays of divine light burst out unceasingly. The bombardment destroyed the void unceasingly. Even the turbulence in the space was struck out by the bombardment. The faces of the many quasi-saint from the monster race changed drastically. At the same time, their figures flashed and they retreated explosively. They left the divine formation far, far away. However, during this process, the power in their bodies was not interrupted at all. Someone is attacking the projection of the formation outside. Increase your power and kill them in one blow. One of the quasi-saint opened his eyes and shouted. Suddenly, the 50 quasi-saint from the monster race released an even more powerful aura. Like raging waves, the power poured into the Great Void Annihilation divine formation. Boom! At the same time, the Great Void Annihilation divine formation in the stone region of the human race's eldritch continent exploded with a ball of bright divine light. A huge force exploded at the same time. When Ling and the others who did not notice it were sent flying by this terrifying force. Poof! 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 Fangua and the others who were in the divine formation spat out blood from the impact. Some of the quasi-saints' limbs even exploded from the impact. They were severely injured. Because they were severely injured, the disciples of the Fan and Ouyang families, who were protected by them in the formation, finally suffered casualties. In an instant, hundreds of people were turned into a ball of powder. They could not be more dead. Countless people in the formation were shocked and could not help but cry out. At this moment, the Fan family was also spitting out blood. Use your strongest attack to destroy the divine formation. Morongyu, who was in Hichu Luoshu, shouted anxiously in his heart. He knew that Fangua and the others could not hold on for much longer. Moreover, the experts in the monster race's territory must have increased their power. Everyone, use your strongest attack. Join forces with the people outside and attack from both sides. Destroy this damned formation. Fangua roared as his aura soared. The violent power was like a raging wave that crashed into the Great Void Annihilation divine formation. At the same time, the other quasi-saints, including the people who were escorting the bride, roared and attacked. Boom, boom, boom. More than 30 sage to be attacked from both inside and outside. The power of more than 30 sage to be bombarded out crazily. The bombardment destroyed the surrounding void unceasingly. The turbulence in the space constantly rushed out. Celestial Palace. The great void annihilation divine formation became even more violent. Rays of divine light soared into the sky and forced many quasi-saint experts to retreat. Humph! The human race's reinforcements have arrived so quickly? One of the monster race quasi-saints sneered. No matter how many of them come, they will all die. Another quasi-saint sneered as well. The power that was injected into the great void annihilation divine formation became even more violent. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At the same time, more than 10 figures shot out from the right and landed beside the 50 quasi-saints. More than 10 quasi-saints. There were close to 70 quasi-saints. After these 10 quasi-saints arrived, they did not say anything and directly injected a huge amount of power into the divine formation. Boom! An aura that was many times more powerful than before soared into the sky. Within the formation, thousands of disciples from the Fan family and the Ouyang family were instantly killed. There was not even a trace of them left. Even Fangua and the other quasi-saints spat out blood from the impact. The more serious the injuries, the weaker their strength. However, the power of the divine formation became more and more violent. When Ling and the others outside the divine formation were not killed. However, the powerful aura from the divine formation forced them to retreat. What a terrifying divine formation! I'm afraid there are no less than 50 or 60 people controlling it. When Ling and the others said with a gloomy expression, "If this continues, we will not be able to break this damned divine formation." One of the Shenzhen's quasi-saints said angrily, "There are quasi-saints attacking the divine formation outside. I think our 10 quasi-saints have already fallen. This time we will kill the human race and turn the world upside down. Leave no survivors." One of the monster race's quasi-saints said with a murderous look. The people controlling the divine formation did not say anything. However, each of them had already raised their strength to the limit. The monster race is too presumptuous. How dare they set up a divine formation to kill the enemy within the human race's territory? Just as Murong Yu and the others were furious and anxious, an angry roar came from the sky. Then, a blood-red hand suddenly stretched out from the sky and slapped directly at the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation. Level 10 Quasi-Saints. The Bloody Butchers. When he saw the blood-red hand, Murong Yu in the Hichu Luoshu world could not help but be overjoyed. Since the Bloody Butcher had rushed over, wouldn't the experts from Primeval College also arrive? Chapter 1065. The Bloody Butcher, one of the quasi-saint powerhouses of Primeval College, had reached the 10th Order quasi-saint realm. Before he even arrived, his large hand had already traversed the void and bombarded the projection of the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation. The terrifying impact caused the formation to tremble. However, no matter how powerful the Bloody Butcher was, he could not break the divine formation. At this point, 5 10th Order quasi-saint powerhouses had already made their move. Seeing the Bloody Butcher appear, everyone present could not help but become excited. The quasi-saint powerhouses made their move again. 5 10th Order quasi-saint powerhouses made their move at the same time. 1 10th Order quasi-saint was already terrifying enough, let alone 5 of them. The power of 5 people bombarded the divine formation at the same time. Rumble! The entire divine formation shook violently, almost shattering. At the same time, in Celestial Palace, the Great Void Annihilation Divine Formation suddenly emitted a blinding light, and a terrifying impact surged out. Bang! 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 Several goblin quasi-saint powerhouses were caught off guard and were sent flying. As for the others, although they weren't sent flying, they were still bombarded to the point where their chi and blood were churning. As a result, the power they poured into the divine formation was naturally blocked. The momentary stagnation caused the power of the divine formation to plummet countless times. Now's the time. In the human territory, Fangua and the other powerhouses suddenly felt the divine formation's power drop by several times. Immediately, all the quasi-saint powerhouses roared at the same time and unleashed their most powerful attacks, bombarding the projection of the divine formation. Rumble, 5 10th-order quasi-saint powerhouses, and more than 30 quasi-saint powerhouses of other realms. All the power poured into the divine formation, and in an instant, the entire divine formation was torn apart. "Let's get out of here quickly!" Fangua roared and reached out his large hand, grabbing the people from the Fan and Ouyang families and shooting out of the divine formation. "Quick! Quick! Don't let them escape!" Inside the Celestial Palace, outside the Great Void Annihilation Array. When the quasi-saint of the demon race saw that Fangua and the others had broken out of the array, they roared in anger. The quasi-saint of the demon race, who had been knocked back, quickly rushed out and continuously poured power into the god array. Quasi-saint's speed was extremely fast. In less than an instant, Fangua and the others all rushed out. Just as they charged out, the power of the divine array exploded once more. "Shit! We let them escape." In the Celestial Palace, seeing that the divine matrix was empty, Quasi-Saint of the Monster Clan looked gloomy. "Go for wool and come home shorn." They had set up an ambush to kill Fangua and the others, but in the end, they had lost more than a dozen Quasi-Saint level experts. On Fangua's side, tens of thousands of people had also been killed by the divine formation. However, none of the experts at Quasi-Saint's level had fallen. At most, they had been gravely injured. Even Fangua was gravely injured by those people. They won't recover from their injuries for at least a few million years. Although we couldn't kill them, we would have wiped out the human race in a few million years. It's no different from killing them. In the Celestial Palace, a quasi-saint of the demon race spoke calmly. But they still have the possibility of recovering their strength quickly. In the end, it's better to just kill them, another quasi-saint said with an ugly expression. All in all, we've achieved our goal this time. I think it's time for the war between the two races to begin. The human race will be completely annihilated after this war. The God Realm, the 3,000 immortal realms, and the 108,000 cultivation realms will all belong to us monsters. As he spoke, the quasi-saint of the demon race had stopped pouring power into the Great Void Annihilation Array. Naturally, the projection of the array that had almost killed Fangua and the others had disappeared as well. Monsters! Fangua and the others looked at the projection of the array as if they had just survived a disaster. Their faces were gloomy and murderous. They couldn't wait to rush over to the demon race and wipe them out. The Bloody Butcher, I didn't expect Primeval College to make a move, Fangua said with some emotion and surprise as he looked at the Bloody Butcher. We're all human experts. It's inevitable that we'll make a move. As he spoke, the Bloody Butcher glanced at Murong-Yu coolly. Then he turned around and soared into the sky, quickly disappearing from everyone's sight. Fangua and the others looked at Murong-Yu. They understood the meaning of the Bloody Butcher's glance. Primeval College had made a move this time because of Murong-Yu. Murong-Yu felt a little helpless. He didn't think that Primeval College had made a move because of him. The reason Primeval College had made a move was probably because they were all human experts. Everyone, it's all thanks to all of you this time. The Fan family will do our best to compensate you for your losses today. Now, please go to the floating mountain to recuperate. Even if the demon race attacks there, it will be absolutely safe. Fangua bowed to the quasi-saint and said in a deep voice, "We're here to attend the wedding. Wouldn't it be a pity if we left halfway?" A quasi-saint said with a smile. Immediately, everyone set off again and flew towards the floating mountain. This time, we've been too careless. I didn't expect the demon race to set up the Great Void Annihilation Divine Array. We almost failed miserably, Fangua said with a sigh. Their original plan was to lure out the demon race experts and then kill them. However, they didn't expect the demon race to be so generous. Murong Yu smiled and said, although we've lost tens of thousands of people, the demon race has lost more than 10 quasi-saint experts. They must be feeling the pain now, right? Including the previous ones, more than 30 quasi-saint experts from the demon race have fallen. Heavy losses. With such heavy losses, the demon race will definitely go crazy when they seek revenge. The war between the two races could break out at any time. The more quasi-saint experts we kill, the greater our chances of victory. Moreover, they provoked us first, Fangua said calmly. Murong Yu was suddenly confused. Since the war between the two races is inevitable, why don't we just kill them directly? Initiating the war is much better than being passive, right? Both the demon race and the human race are trying their best to avoid a war. This is because once the war starts, blood will flow like rivers. However, because of the interference from above, the war between the two races can't be avoided. Therefore, before the war, both races are buffering to strengthen their forces. Murong Yu lightly nodded his head as he finally understood. The war between the two races could have been avoided. However, because of the saints' interference, it couldn't be avoided. In other words, the realm of the gods was still controlled by the saints of the upper realm. They were all controlled by the saints. This made Murong Yu a little unhappy. In fact, no one would be happy. However, they could only do things according to the saints' wishes. Otherwise, the saints could easily kill gods, even if they were false saints. No matter what, there is only one race in the heavenly realm and the lower realm. Humans and demons can't coexist. This is a war between the saints of the upper realm, but the lower realm people are the ones suffering. Fangua's eyes flashed with murderous intent. It was as if he couldn't wait to kill his way into the heavenly realm and kill those saints. However, he only thought about it and didn't dare to say it out loud. Otherwise, he would be killed by the saints. Although there are no quasi-saint experts this time, there are still many of them. I'm afraid that these 20 quasi-saint experts won't be able to fight for a few million years. Once the demon race starts the war, we will lose more than 20 quasi-saint experts. Fangua sighed and looked worried. Not necessarily. Auntie, have you forgotten my other identity? Miracle Doctor Sacred Hands. These injuries are nothing in my eyes. Fangua was overjoyed. He was still worried about these injured people. If Murong Yu was able to quickly heal them, they would be able to give the Yao clan another surprise. No problem. After the wedding, I will immediately treat them, Murong Yu said confidently. After a period of flying and teleportation, Murong Yu and the rest finally returned to Floating Mountain. On the way, no one dared to make a move. The demon race quasi-saint only prepared the Great Void Extermination God formation and thought that it would be enough to kill Fangua and the rest. Hence, he didn't have any backup plans. As for the human race quasi-saint experts who attacked before, because when Ling and the other 10 quasi-saint experts didn't have any injuries, they didn't dare to make a move. Otherwise, they would definitely die. After welcoming the bride to Floating Mountain, it was time to perform the ceremony and send her to the bridal chamber. Fan Tong's wedding could be considered completed. However, Floating Mountain was still lively. This was because although Fan Tong's wedding was completed, however, the Fan family held a banquet and celebrated for 100 years. During this process, the news of the Fan family being ambushed on the way to the bridal chamber spread. The demon race lost more than 10 quasi-saint experts, which made many people laugh. However, this scene made many forces nervous. This was because they knew that the war between the two races would soon arrive. On this day, Murong Yu walked out of the room of the last quasi-saint and let out a long sigh of relief. After 100 years, the injuries of more than 20 quasi-saint experts had all been healed. However, in order to give the demon race a surprise, these people didn't show up and pretended to be in a state of recovery. It's time to take a trip to Abyssal College. Murong Yu's eyes flashed with a cold light. He was ready to go to Abyssal College to collect his debt. However, at this time, Xiang Sungwu sent a message. Murong Yu immediately went to Primeval College and appeared in Xiang Sungwu's courtyard. "Old Xiang, what's the matter? Don't you know that I'm very busy?" After Murong Yu appeared, he immediately sat down in an imposing manner and casually spoke. "It's about your life." Xiang Sungwu glanced at Murong Yu and said casually. "I'm not sick or ill and I still have a long life ahead of me. Aren't you cursing me to death?" Murong Yu said angrily. "The demon race is going to make a move on you," Xiang Sungwu said calmly. On the other hand, Murong Yu jumped up. Chapter 1066. The devil race wants to make a move against me? What's going on? Murong Yu jumped up and looked at Xiang Sungwu in confusion. "Operation Decapitation," Xiang Sungwu said calmly. Murong Yu was speechless. If they want to decapitate someone, they should at least target someone like the Dean of Primeval College, or someone like the Patriarch of the Fan family, or someone like that. Although I, Shengzhen, have risen to power, I'm still not considered a powerful force in the realm of the gods. Xiang Sungwu looked at Murong Yu, his eyes full of surprise. This was the first time he saw Murong Yu being so modest. He was being overly modest. Although Shengzhen didn't have many experts, there were still 10 quasi-saint level experts. The weakest among them was a quasi-saint of the 7th step, and there were even 2 10th step quasi-saint. If such a lineup wasn't considered a powerful force, then what kind of force could be considered a powerful force? Many people think that it's because of you that the 10 quasi-saint are so loyal to Shengzhen. As long as you're killed, the 10 quasi-saint will naturally leave Shengzhen. Naturally, Shengzhen won't count for much. Xiang Sungwu explained. Murong Yu was depressed. "I've become one of the targets of the devil race's Operation Decapitation? Is it an honor or a misfortune?" "Both. Operation Decapitation. Not only could it kill many experts of the human race, it could also strike a blow to the morale of the human race. Think about it. The war hadn't even started, but the patriarchs of the other major forces were all killed. Once the war started, who would still have morale? Especially those forces that had been decapitated, they couldn't possibly display their strength on the battlefield. Shengzhen and Quasi-Saint may be powerful, but there are definitely many people who want to deal with you. So, for the time being, you'd better not go out. Just stay in Shengzhen or Primeval College," Xiang Sungwu warned Murong Yu seriously. Murong Yu was just at the Heavenly Emperor realm. If there was the demon race's quasi-saint executing the beheading operation, he could not escape at all. They would be killed instantly. Murong Yu's heart was also filled with depression. Besides, it was impossible for him to hide in Primeval College or Shengzhen all day. Because in that case, when would he be able to break through? Since the demon clan is preparing for the beheading operation, do we humans have a similar plan? Murong Yu asked in a deep voice. Within the demon clan, Celestial Palace is the most powerful force. It's not an exaggeration to say that they rule all the demon clan. Once Celestial Palace gives an order, countless demon clan experts can only obey. However, the human race is divided into countless forces. Although Primeval College is the most powerful force in the Eldritch continent, they don't have the authority to order the experts of other forces. Therefore, if we want to launch the beheading operation, we have to join forces with the 4 great colleges. However, this is another problem, Xiang Sungwu said helplessly. Murong Yu nodded. It was extremely difficult to organize a team to carry out the beheading operation. Can we only passively endure it? Murong Yu was a little unhappy. The highest level of defense was offense. They could just kill their way over. However, Morong-yu also knew that the war between the two races was coming. After the beheading operation, it should be a full-scale war. However, this had nothing to do with him, because his influence was not great, and his strength was not strong. Even if he said something, no one would pay attention to him. Now, what he needed to do was to improve his and Shenzhen's strength as much as possible. Otherwise, once the human race lost the war, there would be no more humans in this world. Shenzhen was no exception. After leaving Xiang Sungwu's place, Morong-yu directly returned to the Holy City. At this time, Shenzhen was more lively than before. More people passed the test and joined Shenzhen. Standing in the sky above the Holy City and looking at the disciples of Shenzhen, Morong-yu pondered, once the war between the two races breaks out, how many of these people will survive? The human race must not be defeated. Otherwise, there will be no more humans in the holy world. I'm afraid I can't keep them alive, let alone ascending to the holy world. This is definitely a huge test on my path of cultivation. If I can pass this test, I can ascend to become a saint. If I can't pass it, everything will be destroyed. Shenzhen is a sect I founded in the cultivation world. It's the culmination of all my efforts. It can't be destroyed. It will live and die with me. Morong-yu made up his mind. Then, he took a step forward and appeared in the holy palace. After releasing all the quasi-saint from Hichu Luoshu, Morong-yu once again brought Wenling and Yang Qin, the two 10th level quasi-saint. His figure flickered, and when he reappeared, he was already at Abyssal College. What is Morong-yu doing here? When Morong-yu and the other two appeared, some of the big shots of Abyssal College had already noticed them. While they were puzzled, a few people had already appeared in front of Morong-yu. In reality, although Morong-yu was famous in the realm of gods, his strength was not enough for the big shots of Abyssal College to appear. The only reason they appeared was because of the two 10th level quasi-saint, Wenling and Yang Qin. Morong-yu, Sect Master Shenzhen, long time no see. What business do you have with Abyssal College? A quasi-saint level big shot looked at Morong-yu and said in an unpleasant tone. It was obvious that because of Morong-yu, Abyssal College had suffered great losses. It would be strange if they were friendly to Morong-yu. Of course, Morong-yu did not mind. After all, he did not come here to make friends. So, he said, I'm looking for someone. Could it be that Sect Master Shenzhen has friends in Abyssal College? I heard that Holy Lord Morong has been listed as one of the targets in the beheading operation. If I were you, I would stay in Primeval College and not leave. Another big shot from Abyssal College looked at Morong-yu and sneered. Morong-yu indifferently glanced at the other party. Are the Heaven Wasteland Academy all cowards? How could someone like you become a big shot in Abyssal College? It would be strange if Abyssal College did not decline. You! The quasi-saint roared and took a step forward, wanting to force Morong-yu. At this moment, Wenling snorted. The big shot from Heaven Wasteland Academy trembled slightly, a look of horror flashing across his eyes. Although they were both quasi-saint, Wenling was much stronger than him. Wenling could even kill him without making a move. Cut the crap. Tell your Hua-Yongyi to come out and see me. Morong-yu's face turned cold and said coldly. Holy Lord Morong, you're so mighty. This is not Shenzhen, but Abyssal College. If you want to throw your weight around, please go back to Chaos Shenzhen. The first quasi-saint to speak said coldly. Boom. Boom. Before he could finish his sentence, Wenling and Yang Qin's bodies suddenly exploded with a terrifying aura that could destroy the heavens and earth. In less than an instant, the terrifying aura of the two rank 10 quasi-saints soared into the sky and covered the entire Abyssal College. The terrifying aura was like the end of the world, suppressing all life in Primeval College. At this moment, countless Abyssal College students felt an extremely strong aura of death. Some people were even forced to crawl on the ground by the two terrifying auras. Who dares to be so presumptuous in Abyssal College? Just as when Ling's and Yang Qin's auras erupted, waves of powerful auras also erupted from the Heaven Wasteland Academy. Among them, there were a few auras that were similar to Wen Ling and Yang Qin's. Rank 10 Quasi-Saint. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Several figures appeared in front of Morong Yu and the other two, all of them looking at Morong Yu and the other two with murderous intent. At this moment, Wen Ling and Yang Qin had already retracted their auras. Abyssal College doesn't seem to welcome me. I had no choice but to do this. Please forgive me. Morong Yu smiled at the big shots from Abyssal College. Morong Yu, it's you? What are you doing here? Abyssal College's rank 10 Quasi-Saint, Shura, looked at Morong Yu coldly. His expression was indifferent, but his eyes were filled with killing intent. Find someone and hand Hua Yongyi over. Otherwise, my two friends' patience is limited. If something unfriendly happens, I'm afraid Abyssal College will be implicated. Morong Yu still had a smile on his face, not fearing Shura at all. A threat. A blatant threat. Everyone present was a big shot from Abyssal College, yet a nobody like Morong Yu dared to threaten them? And in such a brazen manner? In an instant, all the powerhouses, including Shura, were enraged. Their hearts were filled with killing intent, and they could not help but want to kill Morong Yu. However, Morong Yu was not afraid. These two friends of mine are rank 10 Quasi-Saint. If you're unfriendly, even if I fall here, the whole Abyssal College will be buried with me. Moreover, TSK, I'm a student of Primeval College. Hearing this, the big shots from Abyssal College were shocked. The killing intent instantly dissipated. They all knew that Morong Yu was telling the truth. However, if they were to obediently follow Morong Yu's orders after being threatened like this, Abyssal College would lose all face. My enmity with Hua Yongyi has nothing to do with Abyssal College. Morong Yu said indifferently, giving the big shots from Abyssal College a way out. Humph! Shura snorted and walked down the stairs. Then, he reached out his hand and directly grabbed Hua Yongyi, who was in seclusion in his courtyard. Which bastard! Hua Yongyi was in seclusion when he suddenly realized that he was taken out of his room. He was so angry that he was about to curse out loud. However, they soon discovered Martial God Azura and the others. Immediately, he swallowed the words he was about to say. What's going on? A trace of doubt flashed through Hua Yongyi's mind before he saw Morong Yu. Suddenly, his heart skipped a beat for no reason. Chapter 1067. Hua Yongyi was also one of the big shots of Abyssal College. He had never been dragged out of his residence without any background. Moreover, there was also someone like Shura present. Hua Yongyi immediately had a bad feeling. Could it be related to Morong Yu? Apart from Morong Yu's trio, everyone else present was a big shot of Abyssal College. They shouldn't treat him like this. However, what grudge did he have with Morong Yu? Hua Yongyi was puzzled. This was because he had long forgotten that he wanted to control Morong Yu. After all, at that time, Morong Yu was just a small fry. Heavenly Lord Realm and Heavenly Lord Realm experts were controlled by him. It was nothing much. However, he didn't know that Morong Yu had always been brooding over this matter. In fact, Morong Yu wasn't a petty person. However, Hua Yongyi's actions were truly disgusting. If he didn't have the Hichu Luoshu, his mind would have been controlled at that time. Then, Hua Yongyi would have known all of his secrets. This was unforgivable. Hua Yongyi, long time no see. Your realm still hasn't improved. How disappointing. When Hua Yongyi looked at Morong Yu laughed. Morong Yu, what do you want? Hua Yongyi frowned and said unhappily. I want to ask you something. Do you still remember how you controlled my mind? Morong Yu still had a smile on his face. However, deep in his eyes there was a glimmer of light. At this time, Shura and the others finally understood why Morong Yu risked being beheaded to Abyssal College. He was here to take revenge. If it were them, they would definitely take revenge. After all, it was unforgivable to have one's mind controlled. As expected, it's because of that matter. Hua Yongyi's heart sank. He immediately sneered and said, Murong Yu was forced to do so. But that also proved your innocence. Innocent? Murong Yu sneered. Your main purpose is not to control my mind, but to control me. Moreover, you must have learned all my secrets after controlling my mind. Moreover, you left a backup plan in my soul after controlling my mind. You wanted to control me as a person. Hua Yongyi, you're really thoughtful. Hua Yongyi's face suddenly changed. Murong Yu was clearly slandering him. He didn't see anything back then, and he didn't leave anything behind. However, the person involved, Murong Yu, had said so. Moreover, the people from the 4 great academies had seen him controlling Murong Yu's mind. This already made him unable to defend himself. Hua Yongyi knows many of my secrets, cultivation techniques, various treasures, and even some treasured lands that only I know about. I don't know how many of you here he has told these things. However, this is absolutely intolerable. Hua Yongyi must die. Hua Yongyi's face changed again. He looked at Murong Yu eerily and sneered. You want to kill me? Who do you think you are? Murong Yu didn't look at Hua Yongyi. He only looked at Shura and the others. I don't know what you mean. Perhaps you Abyssal College already know my secret. However, I won't bicker with you. However, Hua Yongyi must die. Otherwise, I, the great holy Lord Shengzhen, have my mind controlled. If news of this spreads, how can I establish myself in the realm of the gods? Of course, if you want to protect Hua Yongyi, then I have nothing to say. As soon as Murong Yu finished speaking, Wen Ling and Yang Qin stepped forward and looked at Shura and the others indifferently. His meaning was clear. If Abyssal College wanted to protect Hua Yongyi, then they would have to fight it out. The one with the bigger fist would be the truth. Hua Yongyi, do you know some secrets about him that you don't want to tell us? Murong Yu wants to silence you. Shura didn't say anything. He only transmitted his question to Hua Yongyi. Hua Yongyi couldn't defend himself. He felt that he had been wronged. Senior, how would I know any secrets? Although I controlled his mind, I didn't see anything. Hua Yongyi hurriedly explained. Murong Yu is clearly framing me. Hua Yongyi added in the end. Shura frowned. If Hua Yongyi really didn't see anything, then why would Murong Yu do this? Hua Yongyi was just an ordinary big shot in Abyssal College. It seems that Abyssal College wants to protect Hua Yongyi. It seems that you have already shared my secret. Seeing that Shura didn't speak for a long time, Murong Yu said indifferently. Holy Lord, if that's the case, then just kill all of these rats. What bullshit Abyssal College, I'll wipe them out with a slap. Wen Ling said with a murderous aura. Boundless killing intent erupted from his body. Shura's expression changed. To be honest, Shura and the others weren't afraid of Wen Ling and the others. Abyssal College also had several 10th Order quasi-saint. However, this was Abyssal College. If they were to fight here, Abyssal College would definitely be destroyed. Moreover, if they offended Murong Yu, who was a despicable person, Abyssal College wouldn't be able to exist anymore. However, Hua Yongyi couldn't be handed over to them. Murong Yu, don't go too far. Whether Hua Yongyi did it or not, you know very well. Shura said indifferently. Are you trying to deny it? Forget it, I'm really disappointed in Abyssal College. Since that's the case, Wen Ling, Yang Qin, you guys can do it. The faces of the big shots from Abyssal College immediately changed. Their killing intent surged. Wait. Murong Yu, how do you want this to end? Very simple, Hua Yongyi must die. That's impossible. Of course, if you don't want Hua Yongyi to die, there's another way. My secrets are quite valuable. If you can compensate me with something of equivalent value, then I'll pretend that this never happened. Hee, the big shots from Abyssal College all sneered in their hearts. This was Murong Yu's goal, right? He was here to extort resources. A secret location, Shura said in a deep voice. Ha ha ha. Murong-yu laughed, then he looked at Shura and said, Shura, are you trying to dismiss a beggar? Or is Hua Yonghi's life only worth a secret location? Or are all my secrets worthless? Maybe your secrets are valuable, but I don't know anything about them. Valuable my ass. Hua Yonghi cursed Murong-yu in his heart. 100 secret locations. No more excuses, otherwise we'll talk about it. Murong-yu's face was cold. Lion's mouth. 100 secret locations? Before this, Abyssal College had already been extorted by Primeval College for more than 100 secret locations. If Murong-yu was given another 100 secret locations, Abyssal College would not have many secret locations. At this moment, the big shots from Abyssal College had their facial muscles twitching. 100 secret locations, or Hua Yonghi's death. However, Hua Yonghi doesn't seem to be worth this price? Then you might as well give Hua Yonghi to me. Murong-yu said lightly. Shame. Whether it was giving Hua Yonghi to Murong-yu or exchanging 100 secret locations, it was a shame for Abyssal College. However, if they don't agree, then the price would be even greater. Murong-yu was not Primeval College, and Primeval College may have estimated that Abyssal College would not make a move. But Murong-yu was a madman. Almost all the forces that had offended him had been slaughtered by him, leaving no survivors. This madman would definitely dare to make a move on Abyssal College. Once he made a move, Abyssal College would lose more than just Hua Yonghi or 100 secret locations. If Hua Yonghi was given to Murong-yu, it would chill the hearts of the teachers and students of Abyssal College. Abyssal College couldn't even protect its own teachers and students, who would join them in the future. What a deep scheme. I'm afraid that he was aiming for 100 secret locations from the beginning? Many of the big shots from Abyssal College sneered in their hearts. They couldn't wait to slap Murong-yu to death. Murong-yu was indeed aiming for 100 secret locations. He expected that Abyssal College would not hand over Hua Yonghi. Therefore, he has been threatening Abyssal College by killing Hua Yonghi, but his real purpose was 100 secret locations. Good. 100 secret locations. Shura pondered for a long time, then said in a deep voice. Hua Yonghi, you've done a good thing. You should commit suicide. At this time, a gloomy voice suddenly sounded in Hua Yonghi's mind. Suicide? Hua Yonghi's face turned pale, and then he suddenly realized. Once he committed suicide, Murong-yu naturally would not have an excuse to blackmail Abyssal College. And Abyssal College did not need to hand over him, or 100 secret locations. Many of the big shots from Abyssal College looked at Hua Yonghi coldly. Hua Yonghi's face was ashen, and finally sighed and chose to commit suicide. However, just as he was about to make a move, Murong-yu gave Wenling a signal with his eyes. Wenling immediately shot and pulled Hua Yonghi over, and at the same time sealed his power, so that he could not even commit suicide. In order to prevent accidents, before the completion of the handover, let us take care of Hua Yonghi. Murong-yu said faintly, that faint smile, in the eyes of many big shots from Abyssal College, was incomparably abhorrent. Well, now Hua Yonghi could not even commit suicide. Abyssal College could only hand over 100 secret locations to Murong-yu. Even, everyone saw that Hua Yonghi was taken into his sacred tool by Murong-yu. In this way, unless you kill Murong-yu and grab his sacred tool, otherwise, no one can kill Hua Yonghi. What a treacherous little bastard. Many big shots from Abyssal College were about to explode. Chapter 1068. 100 secret planes were a huge asset for Abyssal College. But in any case, they couldn't deny it. It turned out that Abyssal College really had a lot of secret planes. In less than half a month, Murong-yu was notified of the matter. Abyssal College, in a hall. Several big shots of Abyssal College, and Murong-yu only had 5 or 6 people here. And Shura didn't even have a quasi-saint level big shot. Obviously, Abyssal College was disgusted with Murong-yu. Those powerful big shots didn't want to see Murong-yu at all. It was probably because they were afraid that after seeing Murongyu, they couldn't help but kill Murongyu. 100 secret planes can now be handed over to you. But before handing them over to you, you must build your own transmission array. One day after the delivery, we will destroy Abyssal College's transmission array. After seeing Murongyu, one of the big shots of Abyssal College said in a cold voice. His face was as black as charcoal, and his tone was very cold. This is the list of the 100 secret planes and a general introduction. One of the big shots of Abyssal College threw a jade slip to Murongyu. Murongyu didn't look at the jade slip and put it into the Hichu Luoshu world. At the same time, he said lightly, "You can remove the transmission array of these 100 secret planes before tomorrow. But now I have to go in and check each one, because I don't trust you." The big shots of Abyssal College were about to explode, but they didn't. They just sneered and thought, "I'd like to see how you can build a transmission array in one day." These secret planes were in different places in the heavenly realm. Every time a secret plane was found, a transmission array would need to be built. Even with the ability of the Heaven Wasteland Academy, it would take a very long time to build 100 transmission formations of the secret plane. They gave Murongyu a day's time because they didn't want to give Murongyu much. If after a day, Murongyu didn't set up the transmission formation for those secret planes, then they naturally wouldn't be able to enter those secret planes. Naturally, those secret areas returned to Abyssal College. And in one day, Murongyu couldn't even build a teleportation array to the secret plane. If there was no teleportation array, he wouldn't know where to enter these secret areas. This was why Abyssal College was so generous. Whatever. A big shot of Abyssal College sneered, and led Murongyu to a courtyard deep inside Abyssal College, where teleportation formations were everywhere. All the teleportation arrays leading to the 100 secret planes were activated. When Ling and Yangqin stood in the courtyard and didn't leave. Murongyu, on the other hand, stepped into the first hidden area. Whoosh! Murongyu appeared in the secret plane. However, he didn't have much time to look around. His figure rose into the air and flew forward. In the process, he threw down one teleportation point after another. After throwing down dozens of teleportation points in a row, Murongyu was sent out from the teleportation array again. The whole process took less than a dozen breaths. Time was tight. After appearing in the courtyard, Murongyu entered the second secret plane. Following the pattern of the gourd and a ladle, after scattering a few dozen teleportation points, he teleported back. This cycle repeated in an hour. Murongyu had already gone through the 100 secret planes. You can remove the teleportation arrays of these 100 secret planes. After Murongyu was sent out from the last secret plane, he said to the big shots of Abyssal College. Those big shots sneered in their hearts. They stretched out their big hands and directly destroyed these teleportation arrays. "So, shouldn't you release Hua Yomi? I should have done so long ago." Murongyu smiled slightly and released Hua Yomi from the Hichu Luoshu world. However, no one knew whether it was intentional or not. Hua Yomi, who was originally sealed, fell to the ground in a dog's shit posture when he appeared. This made Hua Yomi and the people of Abyssal College very angry. Murongyu replied with an embarrassed smile. Said, "Sorry, I can't control this sacred tool freely. It was an accident, a skillful accident." What the F***ck? Hua Yomi couldn't wait to slap Murongyu to death, and the people of Abyssal College also looked at Murongyu with murderous intent. However, since Murongyu said so, even if they don't believe it, they can only believe it. Otherwise, why would they fall out with Murongyu? Didn't you see the 2 10th Order quasi-saint beside Murongyu? When Ling, Yangqin, let's go back to Shenzhen. I'm really happy that the Heaven Wasteland Academy has given me such a big gift. In fact, I didn't expect Abyssal College to be so generous. In business, you can actually bargain. Originally, I could accept 10 secret planes. Ha ha. Puff, hearing Murongyu's words, countless big shots of Abyssal College, even Shura almost couldn't help but vomit blood. Murong Yu's actions were called taking advantage of the situation and deliberately harming them. In fact, Murong Yu couldn't help but say this sentence a long time ago. He was just spouting nonsense when he said 100 secret planes. He could definitely accept 10 secret planes. If you have similar business in the future, you still have to look for Abyssal College. They are too generous. Murong Yu's voice came from afar. He, Wenling, and Yang Qin had already retreated far away. However, the words he left behind made the big shots of Abyssal College very angry. Murong Yu, I won't send you off. In the future, don't come to Abyssal College for no reason. You are the most unpopular person in Tianhuang mainland. The voices of several big shots of Abyssal College sounded in Murong Yu's ears. After leaving Abyssal College, Murong Yu, Wenling, and Yang Qin entered the Hichu Luoshu world. Holy Lord, have you really built a teleportation formation in those secret planes? Yang Qin couldn't help but ask. This question had been bothering him for a long time. Murong Yu looked at the two of them with a smile. Do you think it's possible? Wenling and Yang Qin immediately shook their heads. Moreover, is Abyssal College really willing to give those 100 secret planes to us? They didn't leave any backup plans? Wenling added. In any case, they wouldn't believe Abyssal College. In fact, no one would believe that Abyssal College wouldn't leave any backup plans. Murong Yu smiled faintly. So what if they have backup plans? When I entered that secret plane, it had already changed to Murong. Wenling and Yang Qin just looked at Murong Yu. They didn't know why Murong Yu was so confident. However, they believed Murong Yu. After all, he could comprehend the technique that tens of thousands of quasi-saint level powerhouses couldn't comprehend in such a short time. If he said that he could do anything, Wenling and Yang Qin would believe him. With a thought, Murong Yu appeared in the holy city. Then, he left Wenling in the holy city. He took Yang Qin and several other quasi-saint experts who were good at formations and many materials to build a teleportation formation and reappeared in one of the 100 secret planes. Murong Yu, this little bastard, can really enter those 100 secret planes? In just an hour, he built a teleportation formation? When Murong Yu entered the secret plane, some big shots of Abyssal College talked with each other. Apart from the teleportation formation that we secretly left, it's impossible to enter. Even if we found the location of these secret planes, the entrances and exits have been completely sealed. It's basically impossible for Murong Yu to enter. It's impossible to build a teleportation formation in an hour, unless he brought a lot of powerhouses with him. However, even if that's the case, we can only keep them in the secret plane. Do you want to go in and take a look? Not for the time being. Otherwise, if we're discovered, we'll be accused of being immoral. Puff. Just as they were talking, a secret teleportation formation broke through and was destroyed. What's going on? This is one of the 100 secret planes. Did Murong Yu's people find it inside? While many big shots of Abyssal College were surprised, all the teleportation formations in this secret plane were destroyed one after another. These were the backup plans that Heaven Wasteland Academy had secretly left behind. At this time, after all of them were destroyed, they couldn't enter those secret planes. Maybe it's a fluke. Everyone secretly thought in their hearts. But half a day later, another teleportation formation in a secret plane was destroyed. In the following time, at the speed of destroying one secret plane in half a day, all the teleportation formations in the 100 secret planes that Abyssal College gave to Murong Yu were destroyed. 2 months later, Murong Yu destroyed the last teleportation formation in the secret plane with a punch. It's finally done. Abyssal College, hee. These teleportation formations arranged by Abyssal College were in extremely secret places. If it were anyone else, even a 10th-order quasi-saint, it would be impossible to discover them so quickly. But Murong Yu was different. He was proficient in the law of space. And no matter how secret the teleportation formation was, it would emit a unique fluctuation that could be felt by Murong Yu from a great distance. Therefore, destroying these teleportation formations was as easy as blowing off dust for him. In the process, the powerhouses of Shenzhen began to build the teleportation formations. In the end, Murong Yu was still a little worried. He carefully checked all the secret areas again and only gave up when he found that there were no more traps left behind by the Heaven Wasteland Academy. However, in the process, he also had a quite detailed understanding of these secret planes. Of the 100 secret planes, none of them were useful to him at all. But he could let the disciples of Shenzhen come in to gain experience. For them, these 100 secret planes were holy places for cultivation. Now, all that's left is the teleportation formation. Once all the teleportation formations are built, it's time to go to the Heavenly Punishment Palace, Immortal Palace, and other forces' treasure vaults. Murong Yu appeared in the Holy City. In the past 2 months, he constantly teleported between the Holy City and the secret planes. This was because he wanted to adjust the teleportation formations. Chapter 1069. After spending a few months, Murong Yu finally set up 100 teleportation arrays in the secret plane. At the same time, he also set the qualifications to enter the secret plane. During this process, because of the demon clan's decapitation operation, there were constant rumors in the realm of the gods about the death of experts at the level of sect masters. Most of the experts who died were not at the level of quasi-saint. These people were either ambushed and killed outside, or killed directly within their own forces. Of course, with quasi-saint level forces, the experts of the demon clan did not dare to rush in and kill, because if they were not careful they would be killed instead. In fact, it was not that the experts of the demon clan had not tried to kill the forces with quasi-saint level forces. However, they had never succeeded. There were even a few quasi-saint of the demon clan who were killed because of this. In addition to the experts of the human clan who were constantly killed, the experts of the demon clan who exposed their identities usually did not have a good ending and were killed one after another. However, the demon clan's decapitation operation still angered the experts of the human clan. In the 4 continents, countless super experts of the super forces gathered spontaneously to discuss whether they should also kill the demon clan and carry out the decapitation operation. On this day, Murong Yu received a message from Fangua. He immediately went to the floating mountain. Just as he came out of the Hichu Luoshu, Murong Yu was shocked, because at this moment there were dozens of incomparably powerful auras soaring into the sky from the floating mountain. Dozens of quasi-saint level experts, and they were not the 20 or so quasi-saint that appeared at the wedding. What are they doing? Murong Yu was puzzled as he strode into the main hall of the Fan clan. In the main hall, Fangua sat on the main seat, and dozens of quasi-saint level experts sat on both sides of the main hall. Other than the Fan clan and Fan Shao, Murong Yu did not know anyone else. Uncle, is this a big operation? Murong Yu sized up the quasi-saint experts in the hall, then looked at Fangua. Fangua gestured for Murong Yu to take a seat before he slowly said, "Everyone, this is the sovereign of the Chaos Shenzhen, Murong Yu. Murong Yu, these are some quasi-saint level human expert. They are." Fangua and Murong Yu sat down and introduced each and every one of them. Murong Yu also cupped his fists and saluted them one by one. Although these people were all at the level of quasi-saint, they were far stronger than Murong Yu. However, he would not be arrogant and disdainful of Murong Yu. In fact, if Murong Yu had not subdued Wen Ling and the others, these quasi-saint might not have even looked at him. After all, this was a world where the one with the biggest fist was the truth. Now, although Murong Yu's strength was far from theirs, he had 10 quasi-saint experts under him, and the weakest of the 10 quasi-saint experts was a quasi-saint of the 7th rank. Although these people present were all quasi-saint experts, there were very few above the 7th rank. After all, demi-saints were not common to begin with. They were extremely rare to begin with, and the higher the rank, the fewer of them there were. We are preparing to go to the Devil Race's territory to execute the beheading operation. After the introductions, Fangua said in a deep voice. He had always been a person who held grudges and protected his people. During Fan Tong's wedding, he had been tricked by the Devil Race and almost wiped out. He had been holding back this anger. It was only because Fan Tong had just gotten married that he did not seek revenge. But now that so many years had passed, and with the Devil Race's beheading operation, Fangua could not help but make a move. Murong Yu frowned slightly. If he wanted to make a move, he needed to have extremely strong intelligence as a backing. This was the difference between humans and Devil Race. The Devil Race could easily infiltrate humans and obtain intelligence, but it was extremely difficult for humans to infiltrate the Devil Race. Without intelligence, it was extremely difficult to execute the beheading operation, because there was no target for you to behead. I have intelligence, but I need your help. Fangua looked at Murong Yu. Murong Yu's heart moved, and he immediately said, Shenzhen's quasi-saint experts can be divided into half. The other half needs to be in Shenzhen. Fangua immediately smiled. The beheading operation only needs a few dozen of us. We don't need Shenzhen's quasi-saint experts. We are borrowing your divine artifact to help us conceal ourselves. The experts of the quasi-saint level in the God realm usually had extremely powerful spatial divine artifacts that could carry living people. However, no divine artifact had the ability of Hichu Luoshu. It could teleport at any time, and most importantly, Fangua valued Murong Yu's ability to ignore formations more. When he was in the Great Void Exterminating Deity formation, Murong Yu could not ignore the formation. That was because the Great Void Exterminating Deity formation was activated, and its power was violent, and even his power was sealed. If the Great Void Exterminating Deity formation was not activated, it would naturally have no effect on Murong Yu. In fact, the formations that allowed Murong Yu to freely travel through them hadn't been activated yet. Okay. Murong Yu agreed without hesitation. This time, if he went to the Devil Race to execute the beheading operation, it would be a good opportunity for him to increase his resources by a large amount. As long as he was in the Devil Race's territory, he would be able to meet various forces. And with his movement skills, he would be able to easily find out the location of these forces' treasure vault. Then, he would be able to empty these treasure vaults directly. When do we take action? If you have nothing else, we can set off immediately. Murong Yu nodded, no problem. But wait for me for a while. As he spoke, his figure flashed and he disappeared from the spot. Seeing Murong Yu disappear, other than the people from the Fan family, everyone present was shocked. Because the Murong Yu they saw had indeed disappeared into thin air. So magical? Could it be because of the divine artifact? Everyone looked at each other, not knowing how Murong Yu disappeared. Seeing this scene, Fangua laughed in his heart. There are more magical things you will see later. Just as everyone was puzzled, Murong Yu once again strode in from outside the hall. Uncle, I think you all still need to enter my divine artifact, Murong Yu said immediately after returning. Fangua nodded, at the same time looking at the other quasi-saint present. Everyone, follow me into Murong Yu's divine artifact. Don't worry, Murong Yu will not harm you. Seeing that some people were hesitant, Fangua could not help but explain. Those who showed hesitation on their faces couldn't help but feel embarrassed. Thinking about it, Fangua had no reason to harm them, right? So they relaxed. In the next moment, a force acted on them. No one resisted, so everyone entered the Hichu Luoshu world. Murong Yu's heart moved, and in the next moment, they appeared in one of the top 10 cities of the Devil Race, Qingqing City. Uncle, now that we are in Qingqing City, what should we do next? Morong Yu asked. Apart from the three from the Fan family, all the other quasi-saint were shocked. Just a moment ago, they were still in the floating mountain, and in the next moment, they were in Qingqing City in the Devil Race's territory? What was going on? Could it be that Morong Yu was spouting nonsense? Suddenly, all the quasi-saint looked at Morong Yu suspiciously. Morong Yu was too lazy to explain. He did not even look at them, only looking at Fangua. Do you see the mansion in Qingqing City with the two beast god statues in front of the door? Let's go to that mansion now. Morong Yu's divine telekinesis spread out, and in an instant, he saw the mansion that Fangua had mentioned. Then, he controlled the Hichu Luoshu to fly above the mansion. There's a quasi-saint level powerhouse here. After approaching the sky, Morong Yu sensed a quasi-saint level aura. However, this aura was very sensitive. If not for his mastery of the laws of space, he would not have been able to sense this person's existence. This person was not an ordinary quasi-saint, but an assassin-type existence. He was probably hiding in the void right now. This is a branch of the Beast God Soul. The Beast God Soul is the most powerful assassin organization in the Devil Race's territory, equivalent to the Spectre in the human territory. The information we need is on this person. Fangua said in a low voice. Is he one of us? One of the quasi-saint could not help but ask. Not at all. This person is a genuine quasi-saint of the Devil Race. There's no way he would cooperate with them. We just need to subdue and control him. Fangua said calmly, while glancing at Morong Yu. It was because of Morong Yu that Fangua dared to come here directly. Otherwise, if Morong Yu wasn't there, their arrival would have definitely aroused that person's vigilance. They would not even be able to find this person's hiding place. He's in that room. Later, all of you will attack at the same time and subdue that person. Uncle, just take control of his soul. Morong Yu opened his eyes and saw the quasi-saint of the Devil Race hiding in one of the rooms. At the same time, he opened a corner of the Hichu Luoshu so that everyone could see the scene below. However, what made the quasi-saint suspicious was that they could not sense the presence of anyone in the room at all. Don't be suspicious, just do as I say. Fangua was convinced. Everyone was still in disbelief. They were all quasi-saint level existences, but even they could not sense anything strange. How could a heavenly king like Morong Yu see the person hiding inside? You guys attack first and seal the void. Then, subdue that person and capture him. Morong Yu, once you capture that person, leave Qingqing immediately. Fangua said in a low voice. Everyone nodded. Attack. Following Fangua's command, dozens of quasi-saint moved at the same time and blasted out their strongest power. The terrifying power was like a raging wave that instantly flooded and sealed the room where the quasi-saint of the beast god's soul was. Roar. A furious roar was heard. In the next moment, the dozens of quasi-saint of Hichu Luoshu saw a figure fall out of the void. Chapter 1070. There really was someone. Seeing the figure fall out of the void due to the attack, the many powerhouses in the Hichu Luoshu were shocked. Originally, even though Fangua had told them to believe in Morong Yu, they were still doubtful. However, they were still somewhat skeptical. It wasn't that they didn't want to believe it, but it was just too unbelievable. But now, they believed it. After seeing the quasi-saint in the beast god's soul, they no longer held back and blasted out all of their power. The strongest power of dozens of quasi-saint. The powerhouse in the beast god's soul was only a rank 1 quasi-saint. How could he be a match for them? In the blink of an eye, he had been sealed. Then, Fangua reached out and grabbed the powerhouse into the Hichu Luoshu world. The moment the powerhouse was caught in the Hichu Luoshu world, Morong Yu controlled the Hichu Luoshu and disappeared. At this moment, the others in the beast god's soul finally reacted. However, Morong Yu and the others had already run away. Because the quasi-saint was sealed, and because the difference in power between him and Fangua was too great, Fangua controlled his soul. Fangua had directly taken control of his soul. There was no suspense at all. However, other than the three from the Fan family, the others looked at Morongyu with puzzled eyes. This was the first time they looked at Morongyu seriously. Previously, it was only because Morongyu had a quasi-saint as his subordinate. He directly teleported from human territory to the Qingqing city of the demon clan and even subdued 10 quasi-saint powerhouses. He can even see the powerhouses hidden in the void that even we can't see. This is only the Heavenly King stage. If he reaches the quasi-saint stage, how heaven-defying will he be? The quasi-saint powerhouses looked at Morongyu and pondered. Although they might not admit that Morongyu was on the same level as them, at least they were looking at him in the eye. "Uncle, what should we do next?" Seeing that Fangua had successfully controlled the quasi-saint in the beast god's soul, Morongyu immediately asked. "This person's memory is enormous. I need to organize his memories. Then we'll filter our targets," Fangua said, then sat down cross-legged. As the most powerful assassin organization in the Demon Clan, he was the leader of a branch. This person definitely knew the headquarters and branches of many of the major Yao factions. He was probably one of the more important experts. Controlling him was equivalent to controlling part of the beast god's soul's information. Morongyu nodded. With a thought, Hichu Luoshu once again returned to the sky above the beast god's soul branch. At this moment, the beast god's soul was still in a mess. Morongyu chuckled and stepped out of the Hichu Luoshu, hiding in the void. Then, he seriously sensed it. It didn't take long for him to sense the fluctuations of many formations. Immediately, he sped up and rushed toward the place where a large number of formation fluctuations were surging. The beast god's soul's treasury should be up ahead. Morongyu sneered as he looked at the forbidden area filled with formations and restrictions. Then, he took a step forward. The array didn't obstruct Morongyu in the slightest, allowing him to easily enter the treasury. The treasury was huge, and there were many hidden treasures inside. However, Morongyu did not have time to look at them. Instead, he directly summoned the Hichu Luoshu and enveloped the entire treasury. An enormous suction force acted on the treasury. Immediately, everything in the treasury was quickly absorbed by the Hichu Luoshu. Morongyu walked up level by level. Everywhere he passed, he collected everything that could be moved into the Hichu Luoshu world. Half a day later, the beast god's soul's treasury was emptied. Not a single immortal pill was left behind. When Morongyu re-entered the Hichu Luoshu world, Fangua coincidentally opened his eyes. He must have sorted out the memories of the quasi-saint in the beast god's soul. "I have already selected 10 super forces. These super forces are the second-tier forces in the demon territory." Fangua gathered everyone and told them about the forces he was going to make a move on. Within the demon territory, the Celestial Palace ruled almost the entire demon territory. However, like the Yen Huang Immortal Realm, the Celestial Palace did not rule the demon territory. Instead, it existed as the strongest force in the demon territory. Besides the Celestial Palace, there were many other forces. If the Celestial Palace ordered, these people would all obey the orders of the Celestial Palace. However, if there were no orders, these forces would exist independently. Moreover, the Celestial Palace would never interfere in the fights between these forces. As the saying went, the winner was king. The person or force that survived was the strongest. Therefore, there were many forces being destroyed within the demon territory every day. At the same time, there were countless forces that rose to power. However, these super forces were extremely difficult to destroy. Flying Cloud Cliff, Sky-Bearing Island, Red Lunar Prison, was a second-tier super force. These forces were extremely strong. Each of them had a quasi-saint level expert. However, each force did not have many quasi-saint level experts. After all, there were not many quasi-saint in the entire immortal realm. If each force had dozens of quasi-saint, it would be too powerful. Our first target is Flying Cloud Cliff. What do you all think? Fanguo looked at the crowd and asked, should we just kill their leader or wipe out their entire force? If we destroy the entire force, the demon tribe will be more intimidated than killing their sect leader, a quasi-saint asked. The demon tribe and the human tribe will go to war sooner or later. Either the human tribe will be destroyed or the demon tribe will be wiped out. In the end, there will only be one tribe left. Since that is the case, let's just destroy the entire demon tribe, another quasi-saint said with a murderous look. What do you all think? Should we kill the leader or destroy the entire force? In the end, the crowd decided to destroy the entire force. Then, Fanguo left Hichu Luoshu and rushed to Flying Cloud Cliff alone. Hichu Luoshu was attached to Fanguo's body. Fanguo was a rank 10 quasi-saint. After he simulated his power into demon aura, his demon aura soared to the sky. It was extremely terrifying. Moreover, he did not stay in one place for too long. Therefore, no one could see through his identity. Flying and teleporting. After a long time, they finally arrived at Flying Cloud Cliff. Flying Cloud Cliff was the name of a sect and also a place. It was only when they saw Flying Cloud Cliff that Murong Yu understood what a cliff was. The Flying Cloud Cliff was like a conical object. The tip of the cone was on the ground. It was so small that one person could carry it. However, as they looked up, it became bigger and bigger. Above the sky, above the clouds, it had become extremely huge. It was like a continent. How could such a small tip support such a huge continent? Seeing this scene, Murong Yu and the others were stunned. However, they were only slightly surprised. The floating mountain was still suspended in the sky. It was even more mysterious than Flying Cloud Cliff. I wonder if we can destroy it? A quasi-saint walked out from the Hichu Luoshu world and wanted to get closer. However, before he could get close, he was blocked by an invisible force. Formation. Restriction. Flying Cloud Cliff is like the floating mountain. If you want to enter, you can only teleport in. Otherwise, you can't get close at all, Fanguo said in a low voice. At the same time, he looked at Murong Yu. He felt that it was a wise decision to bring Murong Yu here. Otherwise, not to mention coming to Flying Cloud Cliff, they wouldn't even be able to go to Qingqing City and capture the quasi-saint in the beast god's soul. However, the others didn't believe it. One by one, they transformed their auras and rushed out from the Hichu Luoshu world. They wanted to get closer. However, including Fanguo and the Fan Clan, they couldn't get close to Flying Cloud Cliff. The power of the restrictions and formations on Flying Cloud Cliff was simply too strong. The moment they got close, they would be detected. If they wanted to charge over, the rebound force would be even more terrifying. I'll try. Without waiting for Fanguo to speak, Murong Yu kept them in the Hichu Luoshu world. Then, he turned invisible in the void and flew up to Flying Cloud Cliff. Can Murong Yu really go in? The dozens of quasi-saint looked at each other. They didn't believe that Murong Yu could go in. After all, their quasi-saint, and even the 10th rank quasi-saint, couldn't go in. Moreover, Murong Yu was just a mere heavenly king. No one believed that Murong Yu could go in. Hichu, do you think we can take Flying Cloud Cliff? If we can move it up there. I'm not very satisfied with the location of the holy city. Murong Yu asked Hichu in his mind as they flew. It's not impossible, but we need to try. After all, you're still too weak and can't unleash much of Hichu Luoshu's power. Hichu replied. Even if it's possible, we still have to try. Murong Yu and Hichu chatted as they talked about the countless formations and restrictions. Not long after, he appeared in the sky above Flying Cloud Cliff. When Murong Yu spread out his divine sense, he didn't see any disciples patrolling the Flying Cloud Cliff. In fact, this place was as safe as the floating mountain range. If they didn't encounter Morongyu, no one would be able to get close, and no one would be able to barge in. Uncle, I've already gone in. As he spoke, Morongyu opened a corner of Hichu Luoshu. You really went in? When they saw the scenery outside Flying Cloud Cliff, the dozens of quasi-saint in Hichu Luoshu were instantly stunned. Who was this Morongyu? Why was his strength so low, but his ability so heaven-defying? The many quasi-saint were incomparably shocked. They all looked at Morongyu in shock and disbelief. It was as if they wanted to see through Morongyu. Let us out, we'll slaughter this Flying Cloud Cliff today, Fangua shouted in a low voice. Then, he rushed out of Hichu Luoshu and the others followed suit. After Fangua and the others appeared, they shot toward the depths of Flying Cloud Cliff. At the same time, Morongyu followed. However, his goal wasn't to kill, but to target the treasure vault of Flying Cloud Cliff. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.